Viewer discretion advised.
Hello everybody, mic check 1 2, give us a mic check if you can hear us. It's me, Kenny Dreadful. What is going on, everybody? Happy Halloween. And I am the invisible narrator. Guys, tonight. So anyway, I guess we're good. So hello everyone and welcome to Stereo Dread, powered by
Dezombified.
And with me in the studio is the Dominican dandy, Miss Stereo.
Hello everybody. How are you guys doing this very fine evening? Sorry if you heard our children bickering with each other in the background. That does happen often here sometimes, as well as the cats going crazy.
Kids.
So we're very sorry about that.
Indeed.
And it is Halloween, so guess what? Because freaky things happen, they are fighting even more today. It's just the way that it is, But
I don't believe in superstition, so.
But anyway, you guys, with me is the Puerto Rican Prince of Poetry, Kenny Dreadful.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Halloween today. And we're going to do some quick shout outs and get to our guest of the evening, which is going to be Scary Fairy Godmother. So, Miss Stereo, can you please tell me who is in the his house?
I will in just 1 second, as soon as I populate the list, which is what I'm going to do right now. Yes, I know. Shame on me. I should already have it populated. But as always, things do in fact happen around these parts. So it does go a little wonky, and sometimes I just can't be ready on time, and that's just it. But anyway, so far, we have an interesting crowd in the house. We have as the News Titans here.
As the News Titans, everybody. They're in the his house.
That is so awesome. I love that name. It's so cool. It's an actual avatar of a noose. Go figure. Oh goodness, let's see here. We also have Don Sharp here. Hi, Don.
The globe-trotting Don Sharp. What is up, brother? He's in the his house. Oh, damn it. He's in the his house. I'm smiling, but you can't see it because I'm invisible.
Mia Mina, of course, Mia Mina. She's here. Thank you, Mia Mina.
The undead ballerina. What is up, Mia Mina? She is in the his house.
Awesome. Let's see. Who else is here? Of course, Nightbot. Everybody.
He don't count. Who else is in here?
Otherworldly Things with Mike P. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Otherworldly Things with Mike P. Mike P, my brother, what is up? He's in his house. I know you're excited, Miss Stereo, but let the echo play out.
Sorry about
before
that.
You step on the echo's toes.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, you're doing that.
Pet Fox Art is here.
Pet Fox Arts. She used to be Patrona Fox.
Yeah.
But either way, we still love her. She's in his house.
Yes, we in fact do love Patrona Fox. You're awesome. You have amazing talent. We have Christine Baker here.
Christine Baker. She's in his house. Welcome, Christine.
Okay, let's see here. Creepy Clown Girl is here, y'all. Hi,
Creepy Clown Girl. What is up? She's in his house. Indeed.
Hi, Creepy Clown Girl. You know we love you, girl.
Yeah, we do.
That's our horde queen. We love her.
Oh, hell yeah. We love Creepy Clown Girl. She's amazing.
Well, Mandy Morton was here. She's not here at the moment. I think she stepped out, but she was here, so she gets a shout out, I guess.
Mandy Morton. She was in his house. In his house.
So was Pete Stocks.
Pete
Hello,
Stocks.
Pete Stocks.
Hello, welcome to the Z Horde. He's in the hizzos.
You know, Miscast Entertainment is here.
What is up, Miss Cass? How you doing, brother? He's in the hizzos.
Yep, I'm still looking to see if anybody else. Well, the Creator Spotlight Show was here.
Oh, okay. Creator Spotlight Show. How are you? Hope
They're
you come
still
back.
here.
They're in the hizzos.
Okay, let's see. Still looking. We already said hi to Christine Baker. Yep, and Mia Mina and Creepy Clown Girl. Okay, so far that is all the people I've seen for this chat.
Okay.
If somebody is missing and we forgot somebody, guys, please say something in the chat, because if we can't see you, we can't give you a shout out, right? You know, we can't. So please say something if you're here. We love you. Aww. Awesome. So, baby, who is our guest for tonight? Could you tell me?
The one and the only Scary Fairy Godmother.
Let me tell you, she is such an interesting personality.
Indeed.
She has so many goings about when it comes to fairies. So she's going to talk to us tonight all about fairies and everything that she does. She has some cool stories. And we are going to be putting her links up in the chat as well. Just so you know, it's going to be amazing. And she's an interesting character. She has beautiful avatar that I love very much, and some interesting things that she tweets about too. She has a lot of interesting tweets.
Nice.
So that's going to be cool talking to her. I bet that she has a wealth of
looking forward to this, indeed.
Magical stories and facts that she would like to tell us.
Anytime the Fae are involved, you know it's going to be very interesting. Okay. So I'm looking forward to that. But before we bring her in, let's do real quick with the Z Horde anthem. Get everybody up and shaking their zombie booties. Get some of that blood circulating through your veins and your arteries. Get your head clear so you can pay attention and focus to every word that comes out of the Scary Fairy Godmother's mouth.
That's right. Okay. Well, without further ado, everybody rise for the Z Horde anthem.
Brains.
This one goes out to all you Dezomba friends, the Z Horde. We want you to know just how much we love you.
Shout out to Philia Noctis, creepy clown girl, dark carnival got this. A local nightmare is so amazing. Puerto Rican Jose's entertaining. Dark waters, dog man is twisted. Nation 1994, really gifted. Dustin Flemings, stronger than the rock. Hellfire's out here making everything hot. Yeah. Braidum 23 of fire's a G. We're kryptonites down, Kitty's family. Now there are times when we all need gore. Danny Martians in the house, never know what's in store. Mandy Mortem is legit and a queen. Gothic Rose enchanting, she's on the scene. 13 past midnight, things that go bump in the night. Gory B, horror addicts are out of sight. Big ups to the late horror show. Emily's Adventures in Horrorland, here we go. And you know we gotta keep them dice rolling. MD Who Entertainment, she's been chosen. Give it up for the evil outcast. Swedish mom is dope, yo, you know she got class. So if you get bad vibes from storytelling, then these monsters in my mind will leave you yelling. You see, we all about hearing stranger stories on the creeps. So sweet, she really got love for me. Penny tails up, narrating for the win. Queenie Todd, they amazing, but real dark and grim. Dementor centaurs, flickathon, swamp dwellers. Scolded 22, they be our fellas. Anime Atome, time he lives. A fantastic panic, deep paranormal history, great graphics. What's up, Bullet Speedia? I meant CP. I'm gonna get so bent with Nefarious TV. Slumberies are the morbid. Cap 7, truly salmon. And we can never forget about Karen.
perfect.
Hey everybody, we are back.
you hear me better now?
Hope you enjoyed
Yes.
dancing around to the Z-Horde anthem. We also have a Teespring store, so if you're starting to feel a little bit nippy and chilly because of the change of weather, then why don't you jump inside of a warm and snuggy Dezomba hoodie by Dezombified. And along with that, you can have some hot cocoa with marshmallows inside of the Zomba mug. So please do not forget to check out our Teespring store. Thank you.
Okay.
And everybody, we are back. And without further ado, we have the one and only Scary Fairy Godmother, everybody. She's into his house. Welcome, Scary Fairy Godmother. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. The pleasure is all ours. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so let's get this started. Scary Fairy Godmother, how long have you been on YouTube?
I think I started my channel. I think the first video that I posted was in January of 2016. I might have posted a trailer in the December 2015. But I think the first one was 2016.
Okay.
And I've been posting, I don't know, an average of maybe a video a month since then.
Nice. How did you come up with the name Scary Fairy Godmother, though?
It's not really an interesting story. I knew that I wanted to do a channel dedicated to fairies and the creepy side of the fairies, which there weren't really any other channels doing that. So it's something that I wanted to try out and see if there was an audience for that. And I just thought of Fairy Godmother, and the scary just went along with it naturally. And it just kind of went along with what I was trying to do with the channel, which is kind of bring a little bit of creepy magic into people's lives, and just the idea of a fairy godmother that sort of appears intermittently, and brings a little bit of fairy magic, So I just felt like it fit, and also I feel like it fit for YouTube, because although a lot of YouTube channels, I know YouTube wants your channel to be really scheduled, the same time every week, that kind of thing, and that's what's best for, the YouTube algorithm.
Right.
But I don't really post videos like that. I post it in a more fairy godmother kind of way, the fairy godmother just appears when she appears, and it's kind of like a magic appearance in your life. So and I mean, it works for my schedule as well, because I have a crazy schedule that's unpredictable. So I just basically post videos whenever I can, but that's where the name came from.
Are you into granting wishes? And if so, how many do I get?
Am I what?
Do you grant wishes, and how many do I get?
Well, in traditional stories, you get 3 wishes. But I'm a scary fairy godmother, so I don't know if you want to have...
Well, if we ever want to have somebody off...
In the horror story... Yeah, in horror stories that feature wishes, usually the wishes don't turn out the way you want them to turn out.
Ooh, okay. I'm good then. I'm good. I'll pass.
Yeah.
A hard pass on the wishes. Okay. Oh my. Oh, she's too much. All right. Let's see. So, what made you decide to just do it? Like, can you recall the morning that you woke up and said, I'm starting myself a YouTube channel today?
No. I recall the impulse. I used to watch a lot of, or listen to a lot of horror stories on YouTube. Mr. Nightmare was the one I really started with, and I used to listen to him all the time. And I enjoyed them, but I never considered starting a channel in any way. But I really wanted to hear the kinds of stories that I've been telling on my channel, creepy fairy stories. And I would search for them and get really frustrated because I couldn't find any. And usually, you know, when you search for something on the internet, you can usually find it, even if it's pretty obscure.
Right.
So it just really frustrated me that when I searched for creepy fairy stories on YouTube, all I got was sort of, you know, kids channels, cartoony kind of things. And there were a few channels that would be like, you know, real fairy caught on tape or something like that, but not the kinds of stories that I've been telling. So that sort of motivated me. I thought, well, someone's got to do it. It might as well be me. And I didn't really expect to find an audience because it is kind of it's a pretty obscure topic. So I just put some videos out there and hope for the best, and I was really shocked even just getting my first subscriber. I was like, wow, I'm a real person. You know,
that's right,
is into this topic, and I'm not the only person.
You know something.
And now and now the fact that there's, you know, I have over 13,000 subscribers now, and for me, that's just a surprise that there's so many people that like this particular very niche topic.
Yeah, you know something? We have a friend, right? And his name is Nihongo Johnny. And Nihongo Johnny, he likes to make videos about Japanese folklores. Scary Japanese folklores. Yeah. And that is a niche within itself. And, you know, he wasn't even sure if it would take off, but it did. And his gamble paid off. And you know something, Scary Fairy Godmother, I'd have to say that your gamble as well paid off in spades. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
I probably would like his channel as well because I'm really interested in Japanese folklore.
Nice.
And I remember that being something I was searching as well and couldn't find anything. So, you know, I mean, for anybody listening out there who's thinking of starting their own channel, if there's something you're searching for that you can't find, chances are other people are also searching for it. So,
yeah, that's right.
Why not start a channel?
Exactly. That is brilliant.
It makes a lot of sense. You know, you do it and you make it a thing. That was very fascinating, though. That's an amazing story of how you know, came about. And you know that I find that some people go through the same thing and say the same thing to us. You know, well, you know, there was a need. I didn't see anybody else filling it, and so that's what we're doing. And you know what? Kenny and I had the same issue when it came to promotions and networking and the community and the communing of the horror / paranormal community. Because we know we like horror, we like paranormal things, we like anything that has to do with spooky or the mysterious, the macabre and fantasy and sci-fi, things like that. And we figured, you know, this community, we're all in separate places. What if there was a place that everybody could come from all of those communities, and we have this one thing in common, which would be this specific place, and that's sort of what Stereo Dread has been evolved into, a communing and a place to meet.
Yes,
as
a community
well as
hub.
promotion.
I've heard us called a community hub.
I think it's great what you guys are doing. I mean, you know, creating a little hub for the horror community to come together and just share and chat. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. And play games and hang out. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
so-
because I mean, especially on YouTube, you tend to feel a lot of the times really isolated. Even though you are part of a community, you just have this channel that's sort of a floating island unto itself, and maybe there's a lot of other islands floating around you, but you still feel like you're alone on this little island. And you have your subscribers and you communicate with them, but the other islands, you know, don't really meet. So it's you guys are kind of creating an island where we can all meet. So that's really a cool thing.
Switzerland, baby.
Exactly. I told someone before on this show a few nights back, I said, you know something? It's like we're a grain of sand in the ocean. And we're just floating out there aimlessly, right? But I said that we can overcome any storm together, all right? As long as we tether together, you know, together as, you know, let's help one another. I don't see the problem in doing so.
Yeah.
You know, if I could help you, I'll do it, you know?
And YouTube... And YouTube can be really challenging, you know, especially when you're first starting out and you're first building an audience. It can feel like, you know, it's just really difficult to be noticed and recognized. So, but I mean, the way that I've looked at it is I've just been really appreciative for every subscriber that I've gotten, because it is such a niche topic, and I mean, the important thing is to be proud of the actual videos that you're putting out, and to enjoy it, I guess.
Let me ask you this: out of all your videos, which one has the most views, and why do you think it's so?
The one with the most views is probably, I think I do several different series on my channel, and one of the series I do is True Fairy Encounter Stories, and this one was something like 4 or 5 magical encounters with real fairies, where I narrated a bunch of true encounter stories that I think mostly took place in the winter, and that particular video for some reason just really took off, has more than 100,000 views on it. And honestly, I don't know, because I do a lot of videos like that. It's what I do most is that particular series. So all I can think is maybe people were intrigued by the thumbnail, and for whatever reason the YouTube algorithm picked it up and started to recommend it to people. But other than that, I mean, it's quite similar to the other videos that I do, so I don't know why that particular one got so much more traction, other than YouTube decided to work its magic for whatever reason. YouTube is a mystery sometimes, but yeah, because
well,
it's
maybe
not,
it
it's
really
not
is
particularly
magic.
Sorry?
Maybe it really is fairy magic. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. I mean, it's a pretty cute avatar or thumbnail that I used. So, of this sort of fairy doll face. So maybe that was it. But that one just sort of took off. But I mean,
Nice.
I don't really have a, I'm pretty happy with the views on my channel. I get, I mean, I'm definitely sort of I'd still consider myself a fairly small channel. But for me, I'm always surprised that there's so many people interested in this topic, and that I get, 2,000 views per video is really always surprising to me and gratifying. So hopefully people will continue to stay interested in the topic, and I'll continue to post videos.
We have a good friend named Midnighter Tales, whose girlfriend is very much into fairies. Maybe one day she could come on, and maybe you could come on, and we could just have a whole fairy conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a very interesting topic, and I think a lot of people don't realize how in depth you can go into this topic, and how varied and creepy the fairies can really be. People usually, when they hear about fairies, they think about Disney. They think about sort of nature fairies, like seasonal little, cutesy with wings. But if you actually look into fairy lore, especially fairy lore from the British Isles, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, you get really creepy, scary stories. Like the people there, hundreds of years ago, they were terrified of fairies, and even still today, some of it remains. Iceland too has a really rich fairy lore where they'll build their highways in this sweeping, tortuous way around various obstacles to avoid places where the fairies are said to hang out. Because they don't want to disturb the fairies, and they're so worried that they're going to be cursed by them that they'll literally build a highway. They'll detour their highway in order to avoid that.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is insane. But, hey.
Yeah, and the same goes for various, fairy trees and stuff like that. Like, if you cut down a fairy tree, it's a curse. You could die. It's really serious business.
Oh, boy.
Jeez.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
So can I ask you? I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that the fairies are they're a lot like humans in the sense that they sort of have a whole civilization. In the fairy lore that we're not aware of. Only glimpses of their civilization show up in the different stories, and they are into their own business, and interfering with their business and what they're up to is very dangerous, and they'll take it out on you, and they'll take revenge. And sometimes the revenge is something minor, like they'll play a prank on you or something like that, but sometimes it's very serious. They'll drive you mad, they'll make you sick, they'll go after your family, they'll make your family sick, they'll kill you.
Damn.
It's pretty intense.
So this ain't your regular run-of-the-mill Tinkerbell then. These things are serious. Serious business.
Yeah, they are. And
all right. Well,
and many of them in the lore are not small either. They're human-sized.
Oh.
Yeah, I have heard about those. I want to have Miss Stereo ask you about a few certain different types of fairies, right? And I want you to tell me if you've heard of them, or even if you've written or read a story about them. Okay.
Okay, let's see here. We have here the Calcasatrol, the chicken riders.
Oh, yeah. I won't be able to pronounce it, but when I don't have the word in front of me, but they're an Italian fairy. They're kind of vandals. They'll come into your home in the middle of the night, sort of wreck up the place. They're kind of like poltergeists. And they'll steal and do various other things. They're kind of creepy. And yes, I have written about them. I write a series on my channel called the Scary Fairy Bestiary, where I go from A to Z, describing various different types of fairies. So I have one video dedicated to each letter of the alphabet, but so far I'm only up to K. And so my A video is just scary fairies that start with the letter A, and so on.
Nice.
And I'm working my way through the alphabet, and eventually I'll have an entire bestiary or dictionary of fairies. And it's going to come out as well as a book that I have an illustrator working with me who's doing the illustrations for each of the fairies, and we're going to have a book eventually.
Cool.
Oh, that sounds so cool. That's awesome.
Nice.
All right.
Who's the next one? Who is
Let's
the next
see here. Damn. Anthropophagy.
Anthropophagy, the well adapter. Cannibal.
Yeah. I know I've definitely heard this one, but I'm blanking on him right now.
Okay,
Do you
that's
have
okay.
a little description of him?
Yes, of course.
It says it's let's see here. Human flesh. They like human flesh. Eating it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a head. He doesn't have a head and no eyes.
A gigantic mouth in the middle of his chest.
Holy mackerel. That's what it says.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of the times when people hear about the fairies, they think, beautiful little creatures
like Tinkerbell from Disney,
yeah. And but they don't realize that the fairies are they're sort of like a motley crew. They come in all different shapes and sizes, from the most strikingly beautiful to the point where one look at this fairy and you will fall in love and pine away forever for this fairy. And that's part of the danger, to the hideous and grotesque, like you say, with eyes and weird mouths and weird places, and and very, very dangerous. Some fairies are not as dangerous as other fairies, but definitely that's one would be a dangerous one.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to.
How about
so Bannock, the bathhouse sprite.
The bathhouse sprite?
Yes.
I don't think I know that one. How do you
Bannock.
spell it?
Bannock. B-N-N-I-K.
No, B-A. It's B-A-N-N-I-K. Bannock.
Bannock.
Yes.
This one did not make my Scary Fairy Bestiary.
Okay, well, this guy hails from Russia, and the Baltic countries. He hides in puffs of smoke.
That's probably why we haven't heard of him.
Relaxing in the steam and watching people. And if
that's creepy.
Yeah.
And what about Angix and Utbirds, the sad, scary little sprites?
Angus and Uckberg, are these specific fairies? Like
they're from the north. Yeah, I believe so. They're from the north. They're said to be reanimated spirit of babies that die during hard winters if people don't move away from the site of their death. Holy crap. And they will come every night and haunt people. They were miserable little spirits during their lives and have a mission to continue to make everyone miserable. Okay, Utbirds will become very driven by revenge and turn into enormous owls that prey on Solitary Travelers at night. Yep, and that is Angix and Outbirds. Ooh.
Angix and Outbirds. No, I don't know that one.
Wow.
I mean, there are just so many individual fairies from all over the world that it's sometimes difficult to keep track of them all. There's just so many. When I do my Scary Fairy Bestiary, I end up choosing between often long lists, and I pick the ones that I find the most interesting myself, and the ones that I feel will be most fitting with the bestiary that I'm doing. But there are so many. I always feel like I'm missing because I only do an average of about maybe 5 or 6 per video. So and per letter. So I always feel like I'm missing out on so many, and they're all, I mean, especially the scary ones, there's such variety, and they can really creep you out.
What is the ratio between good and bad fairies? Like, how many good, how many bad? Like, not an exact number. I know you can't obviously know that, but from what you've known, is it more bad than good?
Well, it's difficult to classify because I wouldn't necessarily classify even the quote-unquote good fairies as necessarily good. They're more morally ambiguous. They're more similar to humans in that they have both good and evil inside them. But some just tend to be more friendly. They choose to be more friendly than others that are quite malicious. So, but I wouldn't say that any of them are particularly good or that you are ever safe when you're dealing with the fairies, because you just never know. In fairy lore, especially Scottish lore, there is sort of a distinction between the seelie and the unseelie fairies, which are the holy and the unholy, and the seelie fairies are the holy court, and they're seen to be more almost fairy royalty, beautiful, and I guess they would be quote unquote good, but only in comparison to the unseelie fairies that would be more of a threat, and that's where you get goblins and just the more deadly fairies. But all the fairies are a threat in the end. So I guess, yeah, it's not really a good versus evil thing. It's more like just always be careful.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, so I'm putting up Scary Fairy Godmother's Twitter right now in the chat. You guys check that out if you think it's interesting. I like it. I like the fairy conversation and things like that, and it would be interesting to see or to hear maybe a little bit about their day-to-day living type situation. Do you know if they have any type of colonization? Like, do they live in places like towns and cities or whatever, or do they are they like humans in their day-to-day lives,
or like ghosts and just be on their own doing their own thing? Like, what's the deal with that?
Well, I mean, the answer is that we don't really know. We don't really know much about fairy civilization from the actual folklore. Most of it is quite vague, that the fairies will have their days where they travel from one place to another, one fort, a fairy fort or rath to another. And they go to war with each other, and there seems to be certain fairies that would be classified more as trooping fairies, which are fairies that sort of go in groups. And then there are solitary fairies that are more, as you say, like ghosts, and they are on their own and they do their own thing. And the solitary fairies tend to be a bit more dangerous on average than the trooping fairies, who there's definitely from the lore a real civilization there, kind of like a politics. As I said, they go to war with each other. But whether they live in great castles or in little villages is unknown. Though in many of the stories, what will happen is a regular human being will stumble upon some kind of fairy celebration and find themselves in a beautiful palace, and there'll be jewels and gold and wonderful things to eat. And then they'll wake up and find that actually they're in a cave, and there's the things that they were trying to eat were mud, and the gold that they were given are just dead leaves. So it's all an illusion. And fairies are very much beings of illusion. They cast illusions around people, glamours, and they fool you. They're very tricksy, they say.
Wow.
Let me ask you this: are gnomes considered fairies?
Gnomes, yes.
Really?
In fact, fairies is sort of an umbrella term that includes a vast array of beings. Gnomes, goblins, dwarves, trolls, they would all be considered fairy. In fact, a lot of...
they're all fae, isn't it fae? F-A-E, fae, yeah. Right?
Yep, yeah, you can use that term. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge umbrella term, and like I said, it's just like a massive variety.
Yeah, so it's like saying fish. Fish is a big umbrella term, right? Because there's a whole bunch of different fish.
Sorry, I just lost you there.
I said it's almost like saying fish or cat. There are so many subspecies of fish and cat. So there must be many subspecies of fae and fairies.
Well, that's exactly it. And many sort of mythical beings that you'll have heard of can often be classified under the fairy umbrella. And certain channels that focus more on sort of humanoids, humanoid encounters, a lot of those could also easily be considered fairy encounters. Because there's just a lot of crossover, and I mean, when someone sends me a story and it's like, this could be a fairy story, I often err on the side of yes, it probably is, because fairies is such a general term that covers so much. There's only a few incidents where I'll say, no, this is definitely not a fairy story, but they just cover a lot of territory.
Let me ask you this. I need to know. I'm sorry, but I need to know this. Are there any humanoid fairies that are wicked or, like chaotic that people should be aware of? Specifically, you mean? Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Really?
You mean that look human?
Right, yes, that look like human and probably, aren't too good to be messing with because they're not good. They're mischievous or something.
Well, like there's one fairy in particular, I believe he's an Irish fairy, the Amadon Dove, which is, he is a fairy of madness. And he looks like a normal human being. He can shapeshift. The fairies are often shapeshifters, so they can present themselves as normal human beings, though often there's something off or wrong about them. Sometimes you'll notice a tail under their clothing sticking out, or some kind of animal ear, or their feet will be facing in the wrong direction or something like that. But other than that, they look like regular humans. And the Amadon Dove, for example, is probably one of the most frightening fairies because he can drive you mad and send you into a mental asylum and never to be in the regular reality again. So he'll torment you if he really decides to target you. And then one of the most popular fairies I would say on my channel is probably the Gan Cana, the love talker. He is a fairy that makes you fall in love with him. He looks like a beautiful man, the most beautiful man you've ever seen. And he comes into your life and seduces you and makes you fall in love with him and then leaves, and you pine away for him forever. Can't never really love anyone else.
Wow, that is
just looks like
fascinating.
Human.
So if that's the case, is it fair to say that not only can these things have relationships with human, have you ever heard of any of them mating with a human, whether accidentally or on purpose? And furthermore, is there possibilities of human hybrids, half human, half fairies? And furthermore, could they not know they are a fairy? I know that was a lot to take in, so take your time.
Yeah, well, no, I got it. Well, there are many stories actually of the fairies taking particularly attractive men or women as wives or husbands and stealing them away. Sometimes what they'll do is replace the human that they've stolen with a changeling, which is a fairy that looks exactly like you. If they were to steal you, for example, they would replace you with an identical twin that would enter your life and live as you, but there would be something wrong with you. And your friends and relatives would be like, there's something weird about this person. And you would probably start getting really sick, and you'd also demand you eat a lot and never gain any weight and make a lot of demands on people. And that's because that's a fairy that's taken your place. Meanwhile, you've been stolen away into the fairy world to become, a husband or a bride to some fairy that has decided to take you. So there are many stories like that, and in fact there's one very famous story. This is a true story of a woman named Bridget Clary from Ireland, I believe. This happened sometime in the 1800s, and her husband became convinced that Bridget was not Bridget, that she had been stolen by the fairies and replaced by a changeling. And he became so convinced that he and some of his neighbors tried to sort of figure out, test the woman to see if she really was a fairy, and performed all these kind of experiments on her. And they ultimately ended up killing her. And it was this famous murder case at the time, because he killed this woman because he believed that she was not his wife, that she was a fairy.
Wow.
And the court didn't agree.
Obviously.
They said, you just killed your wife. But he strongly believed this. It's actually a really sad story, because after he murdered her, he brought her up onto Fairy Hill, expecting to get his wife back. But his real wife, but he never did.
Maybe because he killed her.
But there are many. Yeah, because he killed her. Yeah, exactly. But he had this belief, and at least he claimed he did. I mean, maybe it was a crazy excuse, but
that is pretty sad.
Quite a tragic story, but I mean, there are these strong beliefs, and in terms of fairy human hybrids, there are stories. I've actually received stories from people on my channel saying that, they don't know who one of their parents are, and they were all told all of these strange stories when they were growing up, and had all of these weird experiences, and they suspect that their missing parent might be one of them,
Oh my God.
The neighbors, they call them.
No, well, I can only
There's all sorts of
imagine.
euphemisms like that for the fairies, like the neighbors or the good people, or because in Ireland especially, it was seen to be bad luck to name the fairies. So they would use all these euphemisms for them. Yeah. they wouldn't call them fairies. They'd say, them or the neighbors or the good people or the people of the hills.
I see. Or the little people.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Somebody said in the chat just now, it was Philia Noctis. She's one of our regulars here. And she said that the Pukwudgie is around the area where we live in, New England. Do you know much about the Pukwudgie?
Now I'm scared.
I didn't hear you fully, sorry.
Oh no.
The Pukwudgie.
Pukwudgie.
Pukwudgie? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Pukwudgie. That's what she called it. It's in the chat.
Yeah, I think that is maybe if I'm recalling correctly, like a Native American belief. I don't know that much about them, but I think that they're similar to a lot of the fairies. Have been stories are told about them sort of kidnapping the fairies and that sort of thing, or kidnapping people. And I mean, there's a whole lore about fairy kidnappings as well. Sometimes it goes along with the changeling lore. That's not only beautiful brides and husbands will be stolen by the fairies, but children. Infants will be stolen out of their cribs. There were all sorts of things that people used to do to protect their children from being stolen away by the fairies as babies, because it's said that the fairies can't have children of their own, so they steal human babibies and raise them.
Sometimes I used to think that no, I didn't used to think, but one of my kids used to be said that she looked like a fairy.
Oh, I'm so happy you brought that up, Miss Stereo, because my next question for Scary Fairy Godmother happens to be this: are there any celebrities that you feel may be actually a fairy, or maybe even a mix, a fairy mix, half human, half fairy, perhaps?
Well, off the top of my head,
yes.
I would say Bjork.
I so agree.
She's the first one that popped into my head.
You know who else pops into my head? Steven Tyler's daughter? Liv Taylor?
Liv Tyler.
Oh yeah, well she did actually play a fairy.
I know, isn't that a
Rings.
coincidence? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean a lot of the lore around the elves and Lord of the Rings is based on fairy lore from the British Isles, so there's a lot of similarities there. But yeah, I would say Bjork. I mean, especially when you look at some of the things, the way that she looked when she was younger, the way she speaks, she just seems like this magical being to me. I watched an interview with her with a composer, R.V. Part, I think his name is, and it's just amazing. I love the way she speaks. I don't know why Icelandic people in general make me think of the fairies, their accent, and just something about that land. I can see why they have such a rich fairy lore there. There's an artist, very young, a young artist. I think she's maybe in her early 20s or late teens. Who I think she's from Scandinavia, Aurora, but she kind of has a bit of a fairy vibes to me.
Philia Noctis says Keanu Reeves because he doesn't age.
Yeah.
And
well, that's it. I mean,
yeah,
the fairies, they're said to be immortal. So,
mutant artificial intelligence
is a fairy. 'Cause
maybe, right? You might be right.
I'd like him to live forever.
I know, me too. Mutant artificial intelligence says Bjork is creeps. Yeah, I do find her to be a little creepy.
but that's the fairies. The fairies are creepy.
They are, right? From everything you're saying, they sound creepy to me.
Yeah.
You know, they don't sound cute at all.
They're,
well, maybe
you know,
my daughter, if she's a fairy, I think she's a cute one.
I'm sure, but I mean, I'm sure baby fairies are always, but in terms of the fairy lore that I'm interested in, they are quite creepy, and you know, Bjork, yeah, she has a sort of creepy quality to her, and that just works with the fairy lore. You know, I wouldn't choose someone who was, you know, a celebrity who is super cutesy and nice and perfect, because that's not the fairies.
Exactly.
They're not like that.
They're all different.
You know?
But let me ask you this, okay? So if you read these wonderful experiences, these stories that people send you from their experiences with fairies, have you personally ever had an experience with a fairy yourself?
No. I mean, it's sort of hard for me to tell, because I'm a writer, and I have a very, very vivid sort of Technicolor surround sound imagination. So I've had moments in my life where I've thought, but I can't distinguish between whether it's real or it was just my imagination, because my imagination is so intense. But there was one incident where I was in the backyard of my parents' house. I actually told this story on my channel, but I didn't say that it was mine. But I was out there. It was at night. I was alone. And I was sort of just, I don't know, being silly by myself. Mm-hmm. And I looked and they had these sliding glass windows, doors, you know, like that slide.
Right. And
I just happened to look up into the reflection in the glass. Mm-hmm. And for a minute I thought I saw behind me all of these fairies, like following me, a line of them, like as if it was a sort of follow the lead kind of thing. They seemed like they were smiling, and they seemed like they were happy. And I turned around and there was nothing there.
Oh, damn.
So and then I turned back and I looked in the reflection, and there was nothing there. So I thought either I saw something or that was just my imagination. And I was seeing, you know, the shapes of different plants or something had distorted in the glass, and I because I have such a vivid imagination, I had imagined it. But because I'm an imaginative person, I like to think that they really were there.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Does that answer also answer the question, have you ever had contact with the paranormal?
Well, I guess that would be the only real experience. I haven't really had any paranormal experiences. I've had some friends who have, but I haven't myself. And again, I don't know if I would be able to identify it because I have such a intense imagination. I would always be in doubt and think I just made that up.
Are you ready for some speed questions? I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Okay.
You're gonna give me a speed answer. All right, good.
Okay, I'll try my
here
best.
we go. Do you have phobias? Irrational fear of things?
Yeah.
Anything? What?
Yeah. Heights.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like heights.
Same.
That only really happened as an adult. As a kid, I had no problem with heights, but when I got older, I suddenly... I used to be really afraid of, like, illness, sickness in hospitals, but then I got really sick and had to go to a hospital, and when you're sick and you have to have a lot of tests and go in and out of the hospital, you sort of just get used to it. So now I'm over that.
Are aliens real?
Yeah, I guess heights is the only one.
Are aliens real?
Aliens?
Yes.
I'm gonna give you a firm maybe.
Do you like
I
scary
think,
movies?
do I like what?
Scary movies.
No.
Okay. Do you
Though
read?
I write them.
You write them. Okay, so then you read books, right? You like to read?
Yeah.
Okay, who's your favorite author?
Yes.
Your favorite all-time author?
My favorite author.
Yes,
Well, my
all
favorite
time.
book is The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Graham. So maybe he's my favorite. But
Yeah, Kenny's awesome.
I like
Don't blame you.
sort of
Freaking
fantasy
amazing.
fairy stories of all kinds.
Nice.
What
Fantastic.
songs have you completely memorized?
What? Sorry?
What songs?
Do
you have a song that you have completely
songs.
memorized?
Is there any song you know the lyrics to?
But
Uh-huh.
that I know the lyrics?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
a
I know
song
song?
that
lyrics
you know
to probably
completely.
hundreds.
Oh, okay.
I probably know the lyrics to hundreds of songs. I'm a huge music fan. I listen to music all the time, and I remember lyrics really easily.
Mhm.
I can go to a musical and have seen it the first time
Right.
and walk out of the musical and sing the songs, or at least a couple of them, and know a lot of the lyrics. I don't know why lyrics stick in my head, but yeah, I love music.
Are you
I'm
a
big
gamer?
music fan.
Are you a gamer?
No,
Okay. Have you
no,
ever?
but I've written a video game.
Oh, which one? Is it out?
It's I don't think it's out. It's called Away. It's like a animal. You become an animal, and it's sort of like it's sort of like the documentary Planet Earth, and you become an animal, and you have to survive as a different animal. You get to choose a different animal.
Oh, okay. Sounds cool. Sounds cool. I like that. Do you make your own banners and thumbnails?
Yes, I do.
Do you?
I don't. I mean the photographs I use. I don't take those photographs or anything. I get them from the internet, various
Right.
places.
I use Pixabay.
I use a website called Pexels. I think it's called a lot of the time.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one too.
It has public domain images that I use because I can't afford to be
Nice.
buying images.
Of course.
So I use Creative Commons and public domain images for my videos, and yeah.
What
And
is
then I edit
one oh sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said then I edit them.
What is one job that you think you'd be terrible at?
I think there's probably a lot of jobs I'd be terrible at.
God.
Anything that doesn't involve being creative.
Oh, I see.
I'm one of those creative types, so I like to. I'm best when I'm coming up with new ideas, and I mean, for my day job, I'm a writer, and that's what I do.
If there is one thing that you would like to know how to do very well, that you want to become really good at, what would that be?
That I don't already know how to do.
Yes.
Yes.
For example,
I guess
I've always wanted to be a skilled fisherman, but I'm not. But I'd like to be one day. So how about you? Is there anything that you like, but you just haven't gotten around to doing it yet? That you would like to be good at?
maybe I'd like to be really good at a musical instrument. which I don't really play any musical instruments. But I used to, when I was younger, I used to play the piano. I didn't get very far. I think I got to grade 2 conservatory. I didn't go further than that. But I would like to, be able to play and be really good at a musical instrument.
What would you say is one website?
I also...
Go ahead.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I also really admire public speakers, people who are really good at public speaking and debating, because I'm not naturally someone who likes to be out in front of the crowd like that and perform under pressure. So if I was able to do that, I would be impressed with myself, because even though what I do, I am a narrator, but I film these videos by myself. Nobody's around, so it's really not the same. And I don't really think of myself as a performer. It's not primarily why I got into this or why I'm interested in it, or I don't really even think of myself as a narrator. It's just I like making videos, I like writing, I like putting the videos together, and the narrating is just something I have to do as part of making the video, but it's not like a primary thing that I really do. Like I'm not an actor or anything like that.
No, yeah, I hear you. I know that let me see here. Philia said has a question. She said, do you consider gremlins part of the Fae?
Yes, definitely. The gremlins are I if you look up on my Scary Fairy bestiary, I've got G out, and I did a little entry on the gremlins. I did a whole background on them.
That's gonna be fun.
You might find that interesting.
Oh yeah, that is interesting. I know that Mutant Artificial Intelligence says he suffers from mirrorphobia, and he's scared of mirrors because he believes I've never
heard of that.
Yeah, that's what he says. He says he believes he got pulled through a mirror once, I think by fairies, and that he broke free and ran back through, and he has 7 years of good luck. Allegedly he broke the mirror. Not bad, but okay, that might have been a dream, but it's still terrorizing nonetheless. Do you believe that fairies can travel interdimensionally, like through mirrors and portals?
Well, there's always fairy tales that reference those sort of things. The most famous would, of course, be Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass. The looking glass being a mirror. And Wonderland is a kind of fairy world that she enters into. So I would definitely see mirrors as a kind of portal in the folklore, and I think mirrors is a lovely image, and it's a great starting place for a story for sure. And it's a creepy dream. No. Yeah.
Oh my God. Philia says she's gonna check out your bestiary, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, please do. I'm up to the letter K. It's gonna be a while before I get through the entire alphabet, but
obviously.
I'm working through it. Yeah. And I've got a playlist up with all of those bestiary videos on them. So.
Ooh. Oh, that's awesome.
And there's some pretty creepy fairies in that bestiary so far. So. I can never remember them off the top of my head, but there's a lot of creepy ones.
So, Fae, the word Fae has come up at least once or twice in this conversation. And I think that is noteworthy to say. We used to watch a TV show called Lost Girl.
Yes, Lost Girls. I was about to actually make that recommendation to you, Scary Fairy Godmother, along with another show called Carnival with I forgot his name already.
Oh, that guy from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom, yes.
Oh, yeah. I have not seen either. I have heard of Lost Girl, but I never ended up watching that one yet. I plan to watch it at some point, but I did hear that it had a fairy element to it. So yeah, and there's a few actual shows out right now with a fairy element. There's one. Carnival Row. Is that the one you were talking about?
Yes, Carnival Row. Yes.
Carnival Row. Yeah, I actually just only watched the first episode, so I haven't really gotten into it. But there's another one on Netflix, I believe. The Dark Crystal. They did sort of a prequel to that, and and a famous fairy artist who worked on the original Dark Crystal story, Brian Froud, who many fairy fans will know Brian Froud and his artwork, which is incredible. And he also worked on the movie Labyrinth. He and I believe his son worked on the puppets, the puppetry and the art for this series, and of course it's just really beautiful. And he knows his fairies, and it's just cool stuff.
Nice.
So,
Madame Raven says that she's been watching you since you began, so that's pretty amazing.
Oh.
Hi,
Madame Raven. I think I recognize her name too. Hello.
Yeah, she's good. She's good.
She is a fabulous narrator.
Yeah.
She was recently in our
Wizard of Words
Battle Royale competition that lasted a week. That was incredible. Narrators just, battled it out. They were great. She was fantastic, of course, because she is fantastic. Mutant Artificial Intelligence.
Awesome. I actually haven't checked out her channel. I should check her out.
You must. It's a must.
And
it will be a pleasure.
The winner of our competition was Spirit Voices.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She's an other awesome narrator as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Well, the weird thing is that I used to listen to horror channels all the time. And once I started my own channel, I stopped. I don't know why. I think it was because
it's hard to keep up.
You're suddenly. Well, there's that, but there's also it's like if you work at a pizza restaurant, you suddenly don't feel like eating pizza anymore.
Right, exactly.
And it's like I make these videos, and then I suddenly didn't want to listen to them anymore because I spend so much time doing them. So I started listening to other. Focusing on other interests.
Of course. Right.
Of which
absolutely.
I have quite a lot of interest. So I just, but I still do love that sort of thing. So I will check out Madame Raven.
You're gonna love her.
Thanks so much.
No problem. You're gonna love her, and she's a fan, so it's gonna be interesting for you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I always think that one day, and people who really like my voice will probably be unhappy to hear this, but that I would want to, depending on how big my channel gets, but that one day I would like to get, guest narrators in on my channel to narrate, because I really like creating the videos and putting them together. I love the images, I love the visuals, I love writing them, but the narrating is just not my favorite thing to do. So I
love narrating. So
we would love that.
Keep us in mind, for sure. Keep us in mind.
Oh, yeah?
We love it.
Yeah, we love it.
Live streaming.
And for me, it is so. I find it so hard. Like I don't know. It's not
hard.
My thing, and. I try my best and I try to perform as much as possible, and I've worked on it, and I hope I've improved since my earlier stories, but it's just not something, some things come naturally to you as a person and some don't, and this is this doesn't come naturally.
Well, you
to
know,
me,
it's
so
funny
I just
that
really
you
have
say
to
that.
work on it.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, no, it's funny that you say that because I like voice acting better than narrating. And there is a difference. With narrating, you're reading something and you're being almost informative and you're being descriptive, you know? But with voice acting, you have this script and you get to bring it to life. So I kind of like that a little more than narrating. That's probably why I'm not a great narrator.
But
Kenny's a
sometimes-
really good narrator, though.
Thank you. But sometimes, you know, depending on the script, like the producer might want you to say it in a certain way.
Yeah.
Or try to portray a certain sort of personality type. And, you know, so, but yeah, Mysterio, you're definitely
you know
right
what?
about that.
I just finished a novel. Of course, that has to do with fairies. It's a young adult novel, and I'm working on just editing it right now, and I plan to publish at some point. And at some point, I want to put out an audio book, and I do not want to be the narrator on that audio book. So I'm going to be looking for a narrator to narrate that book.
A female or a male?
Definitely, if you guys have recommendations or you know
Well,
what
if
you
it's
want.
a male, I'll tell you right now. If it's a man, I recommend myself. If it's a man, straight up. But if it's a female,
Well-
I recommend Mysterio.
No, not me.
Well, the thing is, because the main character is a young girl, I think it makes more sense for the narrator to be
A female, of course. So
Well, I know
But,
who you could
yeah.
use for sure.
we got a few.
We got a few, yeah. But if you're looking for a younger female, Penny Tails Up is amazing. She's a good choice.
As well as Spirit Voices.
Yeah, Spirit Voices as well. MD Who Entertainment. We have a few. I will send you a list and you check them all out. See who you like the best.
Yeah, why
Oh, it's
not?
quite a list.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we have
Not
a lot
only
of-
that, but I said before, I'm a writer. I'm actually a screenwriter. I write films, but I've only
Nice.
had one produced so far, a short film.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, it's a horror actually, and it was in some film festivals and stuff like that. But that's the primary thing that I do and that I'm the best at. And I've wanted for a long time to put out a series on my channel or any channel, doesn't matter, of scripted stories, and to get voice actors to come in and do the different parts. Of course, it's going to take me time because I need to write them, and I always have way too many projects that I'm working on all at the same time. Currently, it's a little bit nuts. I just finished a novel. I'm editing that novel. I'm working on another short film. I'm working on a feature film with just a small production company in my area. And I have 4 personal feature films on the back burner that I want to write that I think are really good ideas, and I want to write them. And so I'm a little bit backlogged, but
Yeah.
this is something that I think would be really cool to do, and to, I genuinely, I'm a screenwriter. I can write some good stories, and I would love to have some people who really enjoy not just narrating but voice acting to do different roles, and so that would be great, to get a bunch of people together and
Madame
showcase people's
Raven.
various talents.
Yeah. Yeah, Madame Raven, actually, she's in the chat and she's definitely making it clear and making it known she would love to collab with you.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's apparently a big fan, so that's
she
great.
is, but also, we'd be willing to work with you in any capacity
Absolutely.
too. So we have a Twitter. You can hit us up on Twitter if you want to air some stuff on this channel. We'd be more than happy to do so. We do live streams 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Sometimes on Sunday, every other Sunday, we have a live stream. Plus, we do morning shows and with other hosts like Steve Stockton, who's an author himself, published, a best-selling author. We have other narrator who goes by Evil Outcast, another one that goes by Creepy Clown Girl, and Ophelia Noctis, who do a daytime show. So we have a lot of slots available in between even to help out. And that's what we're here for. We're doing a 24-hour stream. We're putting people's banners on the stream. So if we have permission to put your banner to help promote your channel, we'd be honored to do so. So
and on our website, we are going to be putting a section where we're going to have everybody's trailers and promotions, posters also for the community. If they have an event coming up and you have a flyer and it looks good and you think it ought to be on the internet somewhere, send it to us. We'll put it on our website. We have community promotions there as well.
We're trying to be the billboard of the horror community.
Yeah.
You know, the Billboard magazine, we're trying to be that.
Cool.
Rolling Stone magazine of the horror community. So whatever you want publicized, whatever you need to be jumped off.
Yes.
We're here for that.
At some point I'll definitely do like a trailer for my novel that's, you know, coming out, and that would be awesome.
Of course.
That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Look, the best way for you to do that is if you go to our Discord, and in our Discord we have a section called self-promo. There you can put, if you're on Discord, you know, you could put it there. Also, if you're not on Discord and you're not going to get an account anytime soon, all you have to do is send it to our email as well, dezombified1s@gmails.com, almost like the Charmed ones. You've heard of the show Charmed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, kind of like that, but dezombified1s@gmail.com. I'm gonna put it in the chat, as a matter of fact, our email.
Yes.
And ways to reach us, because that'll be fun.
But real quick though, if I may, so you write stories.
Sure.
You're a great screenwriter. Screenplays. You write screenplays. So is it possible?
Screenplays, yeah.
Is it possible at all? Could we hear maybe a story that you've written? Maybe you could read it to us.
That I've written?
Yeah.
Or maybe any story, pretty much, that you're willing to share with us.
Anything that you got permission to read?
Yeah.
Something that I've written. The problem with reading screenplays is that they sound so disjointed when they're not, you know.
Or even a short story, or even an experience. Anything.
Well, let me see here. I did write a couple of stories for my channel. I mostly read other people's material on my channel just because I normally don't have time to write for it because I'm just doing too many projects. But I do write the bestiary that I write myself. But I did a Halloween special on my channel last year, and I wrote that one.
Okay.
I don't know if I would want to read the whole thing though. It's quite long.
That's okay, honey.
I think that was like a 30-minute video.
Oh wow! You know, the girl that
read the whole thing right
that's now. So funny. You don't have to read anything if you don't have something, you don't have it.
Right.
That's fine. That's you know, but I would point out that the girl that won the competition, Spirit Voices, won with a half-hour story that she read. So that was incredible.
She did.
But
really,
yeah, with us, the longer the better. But anyway, if you are not there,
I do. You know what? I do have something that I didn't write.
Oh.
A story. It's an old story from an old Irish book of fairy stories by Lady Wilde. I think she was the mother of Oscar Wilde, or she was related to him in some way.
Wow.
Mother or aunt or something. And it happens on Halloween night, so I thought it would be appropriate. But forgive I kind of have a tired voice right now.
That's okay.
And
it's whatever you feel like doing. If you don't feel like it, that's okay. That's fine. If you're not up to it, that's
All right.
fine.
Of course, of course.
Also, you have options.
No, that's all right.
Okay. So it's your call, really.
That's right.
And we also have options. We could open the phone lines.
And maybe she could
somebody
take a
can
question.
ask a
Yeah. Would you mind taking a question from a person from the audience?
I have a feeling who might call.
Sure, I'd love to.
Yep. So you decide. You do whatever you want. You are here with us today, and you are our guest of honor. So, you know.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'll do either way. I'm happy to answer questions, and I'm happy to read this little story.
Hey, if you want to do both, it's fine with us too. That's for sure. We're here for you.
I mean, you know, I'm gonna be honest. It's Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling. So
Yeah.
whatever you want to do, you know, Scary Fairy Godmother is cool.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, well, how about I'll read the story. It's only about a couple pages, so it shouldn't take that long. And then we can do questions if anyone has any questions.
Yay!
And that'll give them a chance to think of questions.
Okay, so let me put on the creepy, scary story time scene that we usually have here. And, you know, we'll just let you take it away.
Sure.
Let's go old school for tonight's episode. Go right ahead. You can start whenever you want.
Okay, I'll do my best. I make so many mistakes when I normally record videos, so bear
Me
with
too.
me because I always just edit those out.
Me too.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm not the only one.
I'm trying to get rid of the chat. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Ooh, creepy music. All right. Should I just get started or? All right. Okay, I'll start reading. Okay, so this story is called November Eve. There was a man of the village who stayed out late one November Eve fishing and never thought of the fairies until he saw a great number of dancing lights and a crowd of people hurrying past with baskets and bags and all laughing and singing and making merry as they went along. "You're a merry set," he said. "Where are you all going to?" "We're going to the fair," said a little old man with a cocked hat and a gold band around it. "Come with us, Hugh King, and you will have the finest food and the finest drink you ever set eyes upon. And just carry this basket for me," said a little red-haired woman. So Hugh took it and went with them till they came to the fair, which was filled with a crowd of people he had never seen on the island in all his days. And they danced and laughed and drank red wine from little cups. And there were pipers and harpers and little cobblers mending shoes and all of the most beautiful things in the world to eat and drink, just as if they were in a king's palace. But the basket was very heavy, and Hugh longed to drop it, and he might go and dance with a beauty with long yellow hair that was laughing up close to his face. "Well, here, put down the basket," said the red-haired woman, "for you are quite tired, I see." And she took it and opened the cover, and out came a little old man, the ugliest, most misshapen little imp that could be imagined. "Ah, thank you, Hugh," said the imp quite politely. "You have carried me nicely, for I am weak on the limbs. Indeed, I have nothing to speak of in the way of legs, but I'll pay you well, my fine fellow. Hold out your 2 hands." And the little imp poured gold down and down, gold into them, bright golden guineas. "Now go," he said, "and drink my health, and make yourself quite pleasant, and don't be afraid of anything you see or hear." And they all left him, except the man with the cocked hat and the red sash around his waist. "Wait here now a bit," he said, "for Finbara the king is coming, and his wife to see the fair." As he spoke, the sound of a horn was heard, and up drove the coach and 4 white horses, and out of it stepped a grand, grave gentleman all in black, and a beautiful lady with a silver veil over her face. "Here is Finbara himself, and the queen," said the little old man. But Hugh was ready to die of fright when Finbara asked, "What brought this man here?" And the king frowned and looked so angry that Hugh nearly fell to the ground with fear. Then they all laughed, and laughed so loud that everything seemed shaking and tumbling down from time. And the dancers came up, and they all danced around Hugh and tried to take his hands and make him dance with them. "Do you know who these people are, and the men and women who are dancing round you?" asked the old man. "Look well. Have you ever seen them before?" And when Hugh looked, he saw a girl that had died the year before. Then another and another of his friends that he knew had died long ago. And then he saw that all the dancers, men, women, and girls, were the dead in long white shrouds. And he tried to escape from them, but could not, for they coiled around him and danced and laughed and seized his arms and tried to draw him into the dance. And their laughs seemed to pierce through his brain and kill him. And he fell down there before them, like one faint from sleep, and knew no more till he found himself next morning lying within the stone circle by the fairy Rach on the hill. Still, it was all true that he had been with the fairies, no one could deny it, for his arms were all black with the touch of the hands of the dead, the time they had tried to draw him into the dance. But not one bit of all the red gold which the little imp had given him could be found in his pocket, not one single golden piece. It was all gone forevermore. And Hugh went sadly to his home, for now he knew that the spirits had mocked him and punished him, because he troubled their revels on November Eve, the one night of all the year when the dead can leave their graves and dance in the moonlight on the hill, and mortals should stay at home and never dare to look on them. That's the end. Happy Halloween!
Well. Young lady. And she said she didn't like reading. Imagine if she did like it. That was amazing. That was a very good job.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Applause, everybody.
I try to kind of perform, even though it doesn't come naturally. So.
I think you did amazing. I think everybody did great.
Hell yeah, you did an amazing job. That was very good. I liked it. That was good. I'm gonna go back and listen to this again when I'm not live streaming, because I really liked it. It was very cute. I loved it. I loved the names. What was the king's name again? He had an interesting name. King what?
Finbara.
Yes.
Finbara.
Finbara.
F-I-N-V.
Oh, Finbara.
Yeah. Oh. That's one of the famous kings of the fairies.
That was amazing. Yeah. Really.
Yeah. There's tons of stories like that. A book I can recommend to everybody is this Lady Wilde book of Irish legends. It's got tons of interesting information about the fairies from Irish mythology and stories like that. So, and that's kind of a common story that's told where someone's swept away by the fairies for a night of dancing and celebration, and find that the people that they're dancing with are actually dead people, ghosts. It's always a mystery what the relationship between fairies and ghosts, or fairies and the dead is, but there's definitely some kind of relationship there, right? Because they tend to be seen together, especially in Ireland. Okay,
that sounds interesting.
I'm glad you like it.
Are you?
No, yeah,
I loved it. Are you of Irish descent, if I may ask? If that's not too personal.
I am actually. I'm half Irish. My other half's Italian.
Oh, okay. Wow, so, interesting mix.
I'm Irish Italian. Yeah.
That sounds cool to me.
But 50%.
Wow.
I know exactly because I did one of those ancestry, DNA
Yeah, I get it.
things. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm part Irish and part Italian.
Okay, so is there a name I could call you other than Scary Fairy Godmother? Is it like, or should we just continue calling you that?
Well, I actually haven't released my name on my channel, but
that's okay.
I guess I can release my first name. There's this whole thing with fairies and names.
Oh, really?
You'll probably recognize, do you know the fairy tale Rumpelstiltskin?
Yes.
And
he's a fairy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is the fairy, and he hides his name, and he says to the girl who he made the deal with,
right,
that the deal will be broken if she can find out his name, and then she overhears him saying Rumpelstiltskin is my name, and he loses the deal, and he kind of loses his power. And there's a lot of in the fairy lore that fairies and names, there's this weird thing where they don't give you their real name.
And that's cool. That's cool because you know what? If you don't gotta reveal your real name if you don't want to. I don't reveal my real name. My name is Mysterio here. It slipped out once in a while.
I'll tell you one thing. My real name is out there. My name is really Reginald Lewington Arthur McEbee.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and I got it out there.
No, it's not.
Care. No. I really don't care.
But
at some point, I do intend to release a novel, so I will be releasing my full name. But I can tell you my first name. It's the first time I've said it because I haven't said it on the channel. But my name is Cecily.
Okay, Cecily. Thank you.
That is awesome.
Well,
I had a friend named Cecily before.
Well, my name is Renfro, and it's nice to meet you.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Nice
Renfro.
to meet you. Yeah.
He's Kenny Dreadful.
Oh, you did?
You know it, baby.
Kenny.
Yes, he's Kenny.
Kenny.
But you had a friend named Cecily. I'm surprised because it's kind of a rare name. You don't hear it very often.
Actually, I have a friend named Cecily. I haven't seen her in years. I would like to, but it's not a possibility now. But yeah.
The phone number is 978-716-5389 if you wish to call in and say hello to Cecily, aka Scary Fairy Godmother. And I'm giving you a huge wink, Madam Raven. Wink, wink. I'm looking at you.
Yeah, she's gonna love calling in.
You're gonna call
if she can.
Yeah, I hope you do call in. And I noticed someone in the chat, Pete. He is a huge supporter of mine, so I want to shout out to him. Hey, nice. Pete.
Hey, Pete.
Good to see you here.
Pete is in the house.
Indeed.
Welcome, Pete.
Pete's awesome.
Into his house. Nice.
But yeah, I'd love any questions you guys have. I didn't know you had a sort of a phone-in thing.
Oh
yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
That's cool.
That's why we do it because
it's a really cool setup here. It's great.
Oh, thanks. We like to have our peoples be able to call and speak to their favorite narrators, right? Sometimes not everybody gets that opportunity. So if this thing picks up steam and gets big enough, could you imagine being able to talk to, I don't know, freaking Unit 522 or something? I'll freak out. Looks like somebody's on the phone.
Oh, yeah. Who's calling my damn house?
Hello. Thank you for calling Stereo Dread. This is Miss Stereo speaking. Who are we speaking with today?
Yes, my name is Bree.
Hi, Bree.
Hi, Bree.
Hi. Midnighter Tales sent me a little heads up that you guys were talking about the Fae, and I am actually the person who experienced the encounter with the red cap in the story on his channel.
Oh my god.
Wow, that's mega interesting.
That's awesome. Hi, Midnighter Tales. He just walked in. Hello, brother. How you doing?
He's in his house.
And thank you.
I know that there's a little bit of a delay probably in the
Yes.
interface, but I will do the best that I can. Do you guys have any questions for me? Because I've been seeing and interacting with the Fae since my earliest memories.
Oh my God! So then, hey, Scary Godmother,
This
you
is it. It's
and Bree,
happening.
this is
It's
for
happening.
you two.
Thank you, Midnight of Tales. Harasta. Harasta Jesus. For making this happen, because you know something. Now we have the Fairy Roundtable. Here we do it.
Okay. So hey, you and Scary Godmother can talk about it because
lead the stories.
Yes,
and we'll be here. We'll jump
Go
in
ahead, Scary,
whenever we can. We'll pop in.
Yes, Scary, if you you can act as the interviewer, and we'll just shut our mics down.
And we'll just jump in whenever we can.
I actually can't really hear her that well. What did she say? Sorry, I missed what she said.
Oh, no, it's okay. I understand. I'm partially deaf, so I'm using a special set of headphones so that I can actually hear what's going on, and I do know that there's a delay I'm noticing. But I've been seeing the Fae and interacting with them since my earliest memories, and I've got, like, a ton of stories that I can tell you that are 100% true. A couple of them are wholesome, most not so wholesome.
Well, I'd love for you to actually send them into the channel because I'm always looking for, obviously stories like this are not that common. So I'm always looking for new stories to read. So you can always send them to me at scaryfairygodmother@gmail.com, and I'd love to read them on my channel. Have you participated in the Fairy Census?
If someone wants to actually email Midnighter Tales, the correct channel, I will definitely send that in, and you can read some of my stories for yourself. Is there anything in particular that you guys wanted to talk with me about?
So, you cut out there. I didn't hear you.
Are there anything in particular that you guys would like to ask me about when it comes to the Fae and my encounters with them?
Oh, she wants to know if we have any questions for her.
Oh, okay. Well,
Scary
you know
Fairy
what?
Godmother, in regards to her encounter with the Fae. I know. I'd like to hear the story if it's okay with you.
Sure.
Like
if she has a story to share, I'd love to hear one.
Yes, if you'd love to share that, I'll put on the scary background for you. If you'd like to say that story, so we could.
Scary background or no scary background, I can just tell it how it is.
Cool.
Me and my husband had originally gone up to a first meeting of a faith that he was interested in. I was considering Judaism at the time. I had cancer. I was going through chemo. I literally had no fucks to give whatsoever. I was in one of those places where, like, I had it. Guys pretended to be heathens and worshipped the Norse pantheon, and they used it as an excuse for their racism and everything. And as soon as I got there, the vibe was just bad. There was only one other person there besides my husband who I actually got a chill vibe from. We had some herbal medicine to inhale to help with my pain as I was on chemo, and I didn't want to take my pain medicines yet. And the guy who was leading this whole thing, the meeting, started screaming to the other guys about how they were too stupid to even bring firewood. So I took that as my cue to, I don't want to be around these people, so I'm just going to skedaddle, even though my doctor would be furious.
Did we lose her?
Hello, yes. It seems we have lost you. We're so sorry, Bree.
Technical difficulties,
Oh my
Bree.
God.
Can you please call back?
Please, and we're so sorry again. This was getting good,
I
and
know,
then
right? I was on the edge of my seat.
yeah, she went to get the firewood. She said she didn't like those people, and she didn't want to be around them.
I know.
And then she started to cut off. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Bree. Oh my God. Yeah, but please call back in. We're going to be here waiting for your phone call because I want to hear the rest of the story.
Rasta, Jesus, tell your girlfriend to please call her back.
Yeah, actually, I don't think that's his girlfriend.
978-716-5389. Please put it in the chat so that she can call back. 978.
I think it was the Fairies.
50. Ooh.
I'm sorry. I don't mean I really don't mean to make fun or anything like that. But there are spirits that are malicious like that.
And it's Halloween. Mm-hmm. This is when a lot of that energy is at its apex.
And then we're talking about it.
And it's the gremlins that are supposed to mess with technology.
Oh really? Oh my goodness! Tell us about that while Bree calls back.
Try calling back.
Yeah. Well, in the lore, the gremlins, especially in World War II, there were numerous sightings by pilots, the Allied pilots, and not just Allied pilots, but Axis pilots as well.
Sorry about that. We have a phone call.
I know, with the gremlins. Yep.
Oh, hello, Bree. Is that you?
Are you back, Bree?
Yeah, it's me. I got cut off. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm so it's okay. It was probably the Fairies talking about them. They don't like
that. Man. You know, I think so.
Where was I? I was at. Okay, so this guy is screaming at the other members of this meeting, other than my husband and other cool guy, as we'll call him. So this gives me my chance to kind of 86 it out of there. I knew that my doctor would be mad, but it gives me a chance to go out in the woods, get some firewood, get away from these people, and clear my head. Now, by the third trip that I'd made, I already felt like I was being watched. The further that I went into the woods, the more intense that it got. My fifth trip that I got in there, I started coming into a boggy area, and the insect life wasn't native to the region. The plant life didn't look normal. I noticed that there were some other things that were off, so I took that armload of firewood back to the campsite. And keep in mind, at the end of the day, they didn't touch any of my firewood anyway because I wasn't 100% European. So all my work was for nothing. But anyway, on my final trip, I had just looked at my husband and the one cool guy on their trip. I mean, while they were sitting on the picnic bench, and I was getting ready to take my next trip back. And my husband looked at the look on my face, and he knew something was wrong, and I just jerked my head in the area of the bog, and I said I'd be right back. So there's this birch branch that's nearby, and I picked it up, and I'm sure you guys know, in the world of the Fae, birch is a very powerful wood. It's very protective, and I used it kind of like a walking stick because being on chemo, I was absolutely exhausted. Fifth trip and grabbing firewood, not fun when you're on chemo. So I go back to this boggy area with it just to investigate, and I happen to look around. The plant life is not native. Insect life does not look natural, and I'm seeing this shimmer around everything. So I concentrate, and I can look through it and see what's really going on. And there's this swamp in the middle of Columbus, Ohio, in one of the parks. And this just isn't normal. I'm seeing plant life that should be native to places like Louisiana or Florida. And when I'm looking through that, I'm seeing what's actually there. And in the middle of this big puddle, this type of swamp, I see this big red rock. And it looks exactly like limestone. And every red flag in my body goes off. I know I'm downwind, so it can't smell the fear that's coming off of me, and it looks like the glamour just disintegrated off of it. And it stood up with his little red hat and red splatters across the shirt and the red pants. And it looked at me, and I looked at it, and it was kind of like a staring match for a second, because you don't run from the Fae. They're like any other predator. You stand your ground if possible, and if not, you back away slowly and get yourself out of the situation slowly. So I lean on my birch branch and, put it into the mud of this bog, and that's in its home. This protective wood is now intruding on its home. And I'm hoping that this red cap does not call my bluff. It smiles at me with this, it's almost like you could think of it as cartoon eyes. Like, it's got a smile like a shark, only the teeth are so close together, and they're so pointy when they smile. It's just one of the most eerie, just gut-turning things that you can experience to see, because you know that as a normal person, this is not something that you would see. This is not something that anybody else, that most people would ever see. And it realizes that I know what it is, and it takes a couple steps closer to me, and it calls me a seer, and it asks me what my name is, and I ask it what its name is, because one rule that you want to follow with the folks that I've learned over the years is that you don't give direct answers. You don't say thank you. If you say thank you or answer a question directly, they own that information and it becomes linked into you. So try to answer a question with another question, or answer it indirectly without giving away too much information that they can use against you. So it recognizes that I'm a seer and that I have the sight, and I'm standing there with my birch branch, and I'm looking at these, what looked initially like southern mudhoppers that you would see in like Louisiana or, places like that. They're a type of hornet. They're actually these little, what would be the opposite of a sprite? They're just demented. They're insane. They're twisted. Something's happened to them and they've been corrupted. So I'm noticing what they are, and this red cap smiles at me, and I noticed that the red on the hat, which is soaked, because red caps actually dye their clothes directly in blood, whether it be animal, human, whatever. The splatters on the shirt were kind of rusty too, so I knew that, a new dye job was coming sometime soon, and I'm hoping that I'm not going to be the one that's going to serve as the dye. So I'm sitting there, and it calls me by what I am, a seer, and then it tells me that I should leave, and I'm just like, oh really? And why is that? Hoping that it cannot see my pulse racing on my neck. So I do have my hair pulled back, and I've got a lot of it actually falling out at this point. So I'm hoping that since I'm downwind and I'm not overly close to it, that it can't really see externally the fear that I had internally, which it didn't call my bluff. It just told me, to get out of its home, and I'm being a nuisance. And I told it, I'll leave, but not for your sake. I'm just tired, and I just want to go and hang out with my husband, and that's about that. And I went to go walk away, and I'm backing out of its territory, and towards the end of it, I stopped, and I looked at him, and he turned around and looked at me like he sensed that I'd stopped moving, and I was still in his territory. And because the people that were at this meeting were so hateful, I have never seen people so hateful in my life. They hate anybody who is not 100% European. They use heathenism as a way of practicing white supremacy, literally. And actually, a few weeks after this, the DOJ actually called the organization a domestic terrorist organization. So this was the only meeting that we had gone to, and the next day, my husband had noped out of it. He said, no, this is not cool to me, like, you guys are using this just to hate and be an excuse to be hateful. So as this thing is, looking at me, and I'm like, you know what? Have fun with the campers tonight. Thinking, maybe trash can take the trash out, and it might have been really mean-spirited on my part, but I am of Celtic and Native American heritage and also Black Dutch, so I come from all of these heritages that come from lines that are seers, that are practitioners of magic and can see through the veil and even reach through it at times, depending on how strong the connection is with one person. In the last, I want to say 25 years, I'm probably the most powerful person in the family, and it scares me to death sometimes. As I said, it's a gift or a curse, depending on what I find myself in. So, at the end of the meeting, I've told my husband, just the bare minimum, like, just don't go that direction. Don't let anyone else go that direction. We're leaving as soon as this thing is over, and that's that. So we get to the car, and we try to start driving out of the place, and this is a park near Marysville, Ohio. Now, my aunt, my uncle, and my younger cousin live there, so I'm actually fairly familiar with the area itself, especially the highways. And we keep coming to the same highway exit over and over and over and over and over. And at this point, I know we're being messed with. We're being stuck in a loop, and they're toying with us. Like, everything that's in there, I ended up in some sort of court, and the participants in the court, they're just toying with us, just messing with us as we're trying to get out of there. Finally, I just let my anger and frustration from being in pain and everything else from chemo and, my hair falling out as I'm sitting there trying to scratch my scalp, and seeing that, and my rage just kind of blew up. So I think that's what finally broke the loop, because the next time that we took the exit, it actually did take us onto the highway towards Cambridge. And once we got to the Cambridge roadside rest, which was about maybe an hour and 20 minutes away, I got out of the car, and I reached in the glove box, and I grabbed an old, stale cigarette from a pack that had been in there for a couple of months, because, obviously I wasn't smoking anymore. I was vaping. I had switched. And as I'm outside of the car and I'm sitting there, I'm still sweating bricks. And I finally told my husband what had actually happened. And he said that he didn't know exactly what was wrong, but he knew that we were being watched, and he knew that something was extremely wrong, again, with the highway exit, because we took the same one at least 9 times. And again, this is in Marysville, Ohio. My aunt and uncle live here. I've been going up for family dinners. I've gone up there plenty of times. I know this highway. I know where I'm going. So I'm outside the car finally, just getting some air. I can feel that it's clean. There's nothing watching us. There's no presence near us. And I'm just sitting there shaking and smoking a cigarette. And then he gets in the car and he drives us the rest of the way home. And I told him everything. And he was like, that's horrifying. And he's been around me enough to experience when things are happening. He may not see them himself, but he feels it. that I have a theory about, and judging from my own personal experiences, I believe it to be true. Someone who has the sight, if you're around them long enough, I do believe that it can rub off on you in some ways, because when I met my husband, he had never had any supernatural or preternatural instances ever before. After we had been together for over a year or so, he started seeing things too. And, you know, that's not just out of coincidence. He would actually see it. He would actually hear it. You know, not as clearly as I do, but he would know that it was there. So that's the story of the red cap, and that's my theory about how sometimes the gift of the sight can be rubbed off on, and other people can, you know, kind of get a little bit of it from, you know, exchanging energies with other people, because, you know, laws of physics, even the folk have to work around that, which is why you can't always cover everything entirely with a glamour. There's always going to be something that just isn't quite right and gives it away. They can't hide everything. The laws of physics doesn't allow it. You know, you can't get rid of any energy entirely. It just turns into another form of energy, you know, and on and on and on it goes. Same thing goes with people who previously don't have the sight. If they're around somebody who does have it enough, I believe that some of that can rub off on them. I just don't know whether it's temporary or permanent, because me and my husband, this is the longest relationship that I've ever been in that's actually been a happy, continuous relationship and not an on and off again relationship. We've been together for over 6 years now. He's been with me through over 3 years of cancer. The day before Thanksgiving will be my the day before Thanksgiving will officially be my 1 year in remission. So, yeah, I kicked cancer's ass.
Congratulations. That's great.
Do you guys have any questions about anything that you'd like to ask me?
Not really. I would love it if you would send me your stories, though, and I can read them on my channel.
Sure.
That would be great. I mean, I'm always looking for those kind of stories, any kind of experiences with the Fae. Creepy is good, but, you know, not so creepy is also good. Yeah, I'd love to read them. Definitely by email.
I mean, I have plenty of them. As I said, I've been seeing them for as long as I can remember and interacting with them. You know, when I was younger, they tend to like young, innocent children, especially, you know, what you would think of as good Fae. You know, the ones that are high-spirited, that, you know, I see it on a spectrum. Like, you have Fae, none of them are essentially good or bad. They're just like people. They take what darkness and light they already have, and they can still choose what to do with it. Now, some will choose good, some will choose bad, and some will be somewhere in between, and, you know, will kind of like social climb, depending on where they're trying to be at and what they're trying to achieve, just like people do. If that makes any sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's cool stuff, but yeah, I think, did we lose the Dezombified people, or are you guys still there?
Oh yes, we are here. We're just listening intently to the both of you.
There.
No, yes, we totally hear you.
Yes, totally hear you.
We just are listening.
Intently listening intently. We're loving it.
Yes, this is fantastic.
Well,
we love your stories.
yeah, I always find kind of stories super interesting. And yeah, I'd love to narrate them on my channel. So definitely send them by email is best, because it's the best. It's the best way I can keep track of them. Sometimes people send me Facebook messages and they send their whole story in the Facebook message, and I lose them that way. I'm not really good with Facebook, so definitely send them by email. But yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I've collaborated at one point. I did an interview with a guy that I'm not sure if but he is connected to the people who did the fairy census for the Fairy Investigation Society,
right?
And so you might be interested in submitting your stories to them as well. They have a website, Fairy Investigation Society, and they do a census, and I think they're still collecting stories. So
okay,
I did a live stream with him, which is really interesting.
I didn't know that there was a Fairy Census Investigation Society. Could you tell us more about that?
Sure. The Fairy Investigation Society has been around, I think, since the late 1800s. At that time, there was a huge surge of interest in the fairies. Even certain famous authors, I think Arthur Conan Doyle, I think was one of them, were really interested in the fairies. And there was this whole kind of movement at the time. And this society had come together. They called themselves the Fairy Investigation Society, and they would collect true fairy stories from people's testimonies about their encounters, alleged, I guess, encounters with fairies, and just compile them. And recently, a group has put the group back together. They put the group back together. So there's a Fairy Investigation Society website, and they did another census, and they gathered around 500 of these stories into the census, and you can read it online. And I think that they're now they're still collecting stories for a second census. So anybody who has fairy stories that they want to share, definitely share it with the Fairy Investigation Society after you send it to me so that I can narrate it, because as I said, these stories are not easy to find. I mean, I set myself a huge challenge when I started this channel, because, ghost stories and true creepy encounters with creeps in real life, those stories seem to be everywhere. They're all over Reddit. But these kind of stories are much more rare. They're much more difficult to find. So definitely, if you've got them, I'm looking, and I would love to read them and participate in the census. It's totally anonymous, and you can you can be anonymous when you submit your story to me as well. That's fine, and you can share your experience, no matter how weird or creepy you think it is. We keep an open mind, and I say we, but I'm including the Fairy Investigation Society people in that, because I know that that's how they are. If you go to my channel, I did an interview with Dr. Simon Young. I almost blanked on his name. And he's really an expert in this area. And it was a really fascinating interview. We spoke for a couple of hours, and it's still up on my channel. He's connected with the Fairy Investigation Society, and he talks all about it and goes into details. So listen to that if you want to know more. I also want to say hi to Christine Baker in the chat. I noticed that she commented on one of my channels.
Who's calling my damn house?
Video. Sorry, I'm getting tired.
Sorry about that. It seems we have a phone call. Who are we speaking with today? Welcome.
Yeah.
It's Bree again. My phone needs me.
That's okay, darling. We're happy to hear from you. We love you, and we hope it's not the first, the last time that you call. We actually like hearing from you. So, yes, welcome.
I don't know if
thank
you
you for
heard
having me.
what I said. If you were listening, I was just talking about the Fairy Investigation Society, and I think that you should participate in the census, the fairy census, with your stories.
If somebody wants to send me the information, I will definitely do that, or send it to Midnighter Tales. He has my information. He could forward it to me. I would love to do that.
Well, all the information's on my channel, actually, under one of the live streams I did with the Dr. Simon Young. Yeah, you can find it all there. Yeah, or even just Google Fairy Investigation Society, and all the information's there. But I have everything is in the description of the video that I did. But it's really interesting, and I actually do, with Dr. Young's permission, I tend to narrate stories from the census, as well as stories that are sent to me by subscribers. So it's great. It's great to be at this point in my channel, actually, where I mostly narrate subscriber stories, as well as census stories, and I don't have to kind of hunt for them on Reddit, or which I that's how I did it in the beginning when I first started my channel. I was hunting for stories on Reddit because these stories are so hard to come by. But thankfully, I've reached a point where I do get enough in email that I can put together videos. Even I've started to do videos with themes, you know, like the last one I did was all water fairies, so stories about fairies that have some kind of relationship with the water, which was a pretty creepy one. They tend to be pretty creepy, the water fairies.
Like mermaids? Are they like anything like
Water
mermaids?
fairies, in my experience, are extraordinarily dangerous, especially things that are commonly referred to like kelpies and things like that. They do shapeshift. They can look beautiful. If I tend to sense anything unnatural around the water, I won't go near it, just out of general instinct. Of all the years that I've been experiencing these things, I've learned to listen to my gut feeling and my instincts about things, and a lot of times, like,
listening to the music, you're adding another source. Put the white dongles
on. Just to kind of explain it, I recently found out that I have Asperger's. And that explains a lot about my social awkwardness and everything else, and may even help amplify my gift or curse, whatever you want to call it at the time. I'm not sure how much that ties into it, but I've learned that, you know, despite my social skills, you know, being lacking, I've learned to heavily lean on my gut instinct. And I kind of just go on autopilot a lot, and if I feel that something isn't right, I automatically react to it with a lot of intensity, and it tends to make people weirded out, but they don't know why they're weirded out. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. But I do have my own theories about how some of these things work, especially since I have specialized circumstances, you know, and my own experiences, but I don't have anything else to hold them up to as kind of a counter study.
Well, yeah, well, that's interesting. And I did, in my last video with the water fairies, I do, just to answer your earlier question about mermaids, I did have one story about mermaids. I have another one about Kelpie. Grindilo made it in there. An Avanc, which is a Welsh water fairy. There was one more, and now I can't remember what it was. But you'll see individual stories about each of those in my last video, my water fairy video. So that's really cool. There's a lot of people who just really love the water fairies. I had so many requests for that one because there's quite a few very, very creepy fairies that hang out in the water.
In the United States, if you go up to northern Wisconsin, above Race Lake, almost to the border of the very top of the Great Lakes and the border of Canada, where the ferries would start, like, you know, transport ferries, not the Fae. But there's an artificial lake there where there's these gelatinous sort of creatures that I would found on the beach.
Oh my.
And they look almost like jellyfish to the human eye that have been beached, and they're not. If you actually get in the lake and you see them and you swim with them, it's really neat because in their gelatinous form, they look kind of just like jellyfish, very, very small jellyfish. But once you put them back in the water, when they can glamour themselves again, they look kind of like water beetles, but they're actually very playful. They like to almost water skate on the surface with just like wind power. It's a very, very beautiful sight to see.
Weird. I hate to cut you off, Bree, but I actually am running out of time. So if you guys have any other questions for me, I think Christine in the chat was saying that she wanted to call in.
Yes, please. And Bree, do feel free to call back in the future.
Yes,
we do
please.
this 5 times a week, and we love hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Bree.
Yes.
And Midnight It Tales. Thank you.
Yeah, and definitely write me because I would love to meet
happy
you.
Halloween, guys.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Blah, blah, blah. I want to suck your blood.
Yeah, and don't forget to submit your stories to Scary Fairy Godmother.
Yes.
Okay, Bree, contact her on Twitter or maybe even through one of her YouTube.
Through email is
email is the best place to contact her. So there you go. And it's already hung up, honey. So anyway, Christine Baker, the number is 978-716-530. Oh, it looks like she's calling. Yay!
Who's calling my damn house?
Hello. Thank you for calling Stereo Dread. Who are we having this pleasure of speaking with today?
It's Christine Baker.
Christine Baker. She's into his house.
I saw you on. I saw you commenting on my last video, and you actually had mentioned the Dezombified channel, I believe. So thank you very much.
She's sweet.
Yes, I love Dezombified.
Christine is
awesome. That is so great.
Yeah,
thank you so
you.
much.
And thanks for calling in. Did we lose you? Are you still there?
Okay, we're gonna shut our mics down because
we got Slumber Reeds. He's into his house. Slumber Reeds.
Sorry about that. We're gonna shut our mics so you girls can talk because it seems that the lag is worse when we speak. So. You are you still there, Christine?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. So you can talk with Scary Fairy Godmother for a bit. We're gonna mute our mic so you guys can sound better. And please forgive the lag.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, so I'm in love with fairies, and I thought that they were nice until I started listening to your stories and found out how they really are. So that's how I got interested in your channel.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm sorry I had to disabuse you of the notion that fairies are all nice. Maybe you lived in a more innocent, magical world then, so I apologize.
No, I like it. I mean, it's
good.
very interesting.
Good. Well, I mean, I personally, I enjoy the creepy fairy stories much better than the sort of Disney version, and I just find them so fascinating. So I just the fact that I can share this interest with other people that have the same interest, because I know that it is a bit rare, is really gratifying to me. So I really appreciate you and just everybody that comes on the channel and comments on the videos and participates, because it's not really a common interest. But what's your favorite thing about the fairies?
The one is the Fae, where they can lure in a pretty person and draw them in. That's what interests me. I did not know that they could do that.
Oh, the temptations, the temptations of the Fae. Yeah, the glamour.
Exactly.
So you like the Gan Cana.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny because he's quite an obscure fairy. Not many people have heard of him, but it seems like once you have heard of him, you kind of can't stop thinking about him, which is really interesting. Just based on the type of fairy that he is, that you don't even have to have met him to get a little bit, just to get fascinated by him and find yourself drawn to him. So there's just something about him, regardless of whether you've had an encounter.
What are you calling those again? What's the name of those types of fairies again?
The Gan Cana.
Kenny, are you a Gan Cana? Because I'm telling you, I'm too fascinated with you. So you must be a Gan Cana. Oh my goodness. Am I with a Gan Cana?
Girls, you blew up my spot.
Maybe.
They hide amongst us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's also known as the love talker, and he's definitely, since I introduced him on the channel, he's been probably the most popular of all the fairies that I've mentioned. I get the most questions about him and the most emails about him. But I think that that's part of his magic and part of his intrigue, that he is the fairy of love and seduction, and he can make you fall for him, but it seems that he never falls for anyone.
That's scandalous.
I think that that's part of what's interesting about him, is that there's always that wonder in the back of your mind, will you be the one, that finally breaks his heartbreaking ways. And I've posted a few alleged experiences with this fairy on the channel, and I've done a whole video dedicated to him because he was so popular on the channel.
I want to know if I'm with a Gan Cana or not, so I'm definitely going to check that one out.
Yeah.
I'm going to break your facade, Kenny.
And like I was saying, it's really interesting that people just hearing about him become so fascinated by him, because that is in the lore, that is part of his power, that you meet him, you see him, and you can't stop thinking about him. And now just talking about him on my channel, it seems like a lot of people have had that reaction, never even having encountered a Gan Cana, but just hearing about him is enough that fascination begins, And I've had a few people write me saying that they've been inspired by him, and they're written stories inspired by him, and someone wrote me saying she's writing a novel based on that character. So we may see more of this particular fairy in the future, And I hope I'm not to blame, but because I've kind of started talking about him on the channel. But you know, once you get that guy out there, it's hard to stop him. So, yeah.
Wow.
But did we lose Christine?
I hope not.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, awesome. She's still here. This call stuck. Yeah. That's awesome. It's behaving. So thank you.
Good. Yeah, thank you so much for calling, and definitely thanks for mentioning that guy, because he's an interesting fairy, and I mean, at some point I would love to write something based on that character. You know, maybe that would be something that I could turn into like a scripted thing that I could ask narrators to join in and do some voice acting. You know, we'll need someone with a really sexy voice to do him. I
already got a candidate for you, baby. Hit with the very white, baby.
I don't really know anyone like that, but I mean, if I know somebody, I'll recommend them to you. I'll try.
Hit him with the very white.
Okay.
You know, that very white stuff you hit me with. He does that when, like, if I'm angry at him or something, he'll get really close to me and, you know, talk to me in my ear, very baritone-like. And he knows what that does to me. So he will do that. You male siren.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing him. He knows I'm teasing him.
I'm blushing right now, actually.
Well, I mean, well, that's really what the Gan Cana is. He's sort of like a male siren. That's probably a good way of thinking of him. But yeah, I mean, it's a really fascinating character, actually, really fascinating fairy. So, and I may be able to do. People have been sending me experiences with this fairy, so I may be able to do a second video at some point. I haven't collected enough yet, but I may be able to do a second video. So for Gan Cana fans, another one could be on the way.
That's gonna be awesome. It really is.
Yeah.
That's gonna be wicked cool.
Thank you, Christine. And I always love hearing that kind of thing, that I've introduced somebody to something that they never heard before. My favorite thing, I have to say, as a creator and just as a creative person in general, is when people tell me that my channel in some way inspired their art or the work that they're working on. And I've had several people do that, send me messages saying that, you know, I've inspired a piece of artwork or a short story or even a novel. And I can't tell you how honored that makes me feel, because I'm a creative person myself, and I'm often inspired by different creative works, and just to feel like I'm sort of paying it forward and passing around some inspiration is so meaningful to me. So any, you know, creative people out there, shout out, and I hope you know, there's something that you're finding inspiring on my channel, and hopefully I can then at some point read your work or see your artwork and be inspired myself. So it's great. Thank you.
That's awesome. Seriously, like, you know, that's an amazing way to look at it, and it is an amazing feeling to be able to inspire people. We've had our own babies sort of come sprout out of Dezombified. I mean, we've got Louis Witt, Breaker Raker 19 is his Turkish stories. He's working on that. Creepy Clown Girl was inspired by most of the community rallying behind her and telling her she should write more and do more poetry. And so she's a little more active on her channel now, and she's getting a good amount of subscribers. She's kind of growing there. You know, our baby's growing up, and, you know, there's like so many of you guys out there that are just, you know, following your dreams. And it's like Kenny always says, go for your dreams. Don't, quit them. And if you don't like your dream anymore, get a new one. That's the way I see it. Never stop dreaming. Never stop dreaming. That is, oh my God, yes. Mm-hmm. Totally. You hit the nail on
that's
the
exactly
head.
it. And I mean, I never thought that, I've always been a little bit shy and, just nervous about sharing my own creative work. But at some point I just sort of was like, well, some people will like it and some people won't. You get haters and there's nothing you can really do about it. And I just put my stuff out there and hope for the best. And I'm really glad that I did, because not only have people written me and said that I've inspired their work, which is incredible, but it's also really helped me, the channel. Like it really raised my confidence in a lot of ways, because it made me just feel like, I can share my work, and it's okay. It's okay if some people don't like it, and I do get criticism sometimes. I get mostly love, so I have a really great group of subscribers who are just amazing. And but there's always some people that you can't do anything about it, but and people have their own taste, but you can't please everyone. And I think if you have creative work and you're proud of it, you should put it out there, because you'd be amazed at that you actually make a difference in people's lives. Like I've had messages from people who have said, they've been sick, and that listening to my videos has really helped them through a hard time, or just helps them fall asleep at night, or helps them in a long drive that they have to go on. And it just really makes me feel good that, I'm doing something that I enjoy, and I'm also making a difference, even in a little tiny way, in someone else's life. It's just, it's amazing, the power of YouTube. I'm not trying to plug YouTube, but it's really about the creators and putting yourself out there and trying things. And the wonderful thing is, like, if you're thinking about this, if you try something and it doesn't work, you can always just try something else. Like, you don't have to be 100% successful at everything. A lot of creative projects just don't work, and I learned that as a screenwriter, that the majority of the scripts that you write never are going to get produced, and you just kind of have to develop a thick skin and keep working on it. And someday, something's going to hit, and just keep share your stuff. And you're going to inspire people. I'm so inspirational all of a sudden. I don't know why. Like, shifted to but yeah.
Do you think that some fairies could be muses?
Oh, definitely. I the fairies, this topic of the fairies and I have a strange relationship. Like, I became interested in it when I was a teenager, and it just has stuck with me ever since. And I just feel like, even if I didn't want to deal with the fairies, I think I would have to, in some sense, because they just always kind of come to me. People give me fairy books and fairy artwork, and they've just always been a part of my life. So they've inspired me. I've been inspired by them for so long that I feel like I can only pay it back in some sense, in just informing people and sharing these stories. But yeah, I definitely believe that there's a muse aspect to them.
Yeah, because he was talking about inspiration and how, those fairies that are seductive, the male ones, how they have inspired books and of course videos and a little bit of obsession on creating on their behalf or for their names. So I'm like, maybe those are part muse. It just got me thinking around the lines of muse. The word muse kept coming to mind. So
yeah, even a fairy like the Gan Cana, there's this whole thing about him being a siren, I guess, or seductive, but as with any being like that, it's never all bad. There's a reason why he is seductive and he's able to draw you in, is because he has positive things to offer, in addition to turning you into an obsessed person or to making you pine away over him. He has good things to offer, and some of that is inspiration. Somebody in the chat is complaining about the music being too loud. I can't hear it that loudly, but
okay, well, you know what? I will get on that right away. Actually, let's see. It is a little loud. Let's see here. Let's see. So, yep, I'm on it.
All right.
I'm totally listening here to see.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it that loudly, but it might be because I'm listening through Hangouts. So I don't know. But yeah, so
continue. Yes, please.
So I'm happy I started the channel, even though I had a lot of doubts about it, but and I've sort of had slow organic growth over the course of a few years that I've been doing this. I never really blew up like any kind of big channel, but I was never really expecting to, because it's such a specific niche topic. And the YouTube algorithm never really picked me up.
Don't even get me started on the YouTube algorithm.
I know. But I think it's partly because I don't post regularly. I only post about once a month, and I don't post on regular days. So YouTube has a problem with that.
I don't know. I mean, we usually post every day, Monday through Friday.
Oh, yeah?
That is Monday through Friday. Most of the time. And then every other Sunday. Okay. So I don't know about that. I don't know. But
it might also be because YouTube, they do all these they change their minds about things, and it might also be because you guys do a lot of live streams, right?
Yes.
A lot of really long videos.
Well, for the most part,
and
we try
YouTube
to stick
has this
to
thing
a
with
2-hour
retention.
regimen.
What? Because it's Halloween.
Yeah, because here's the problem with that is that YouTube has this thing about retention. How long your video is compared to how long people are staying. So if you put really long videos on your channel, I think they ding you, because people rarely stay for the whole thing. And then if they stay for half an hour, but it's half an hour of a 4-hour video, you get dinged because they're like, oh, well, you don't have retention.
Okay, and something is weird.
That's what I think. I'm not sure, but that's what I think.
The thing is that it's weird because a lot of people that pass through here on the live stream and chat and start to communicate, they always say, they always usually stay till the end. We usually see them from beginning to end. Like I can name you right now off the top of my head.
You should have good retention.
Exactly, our retention should be through.
Because I know some channels, because of that, what they'll do is they'll split their channel into two to avoid the algorithm. So they have one channel that's like their live channel, and then the other channel where they do just regular videos, because they don't want the algorithm to penalize them for the live videos, which is weird because YouTube's always telling us, They want us to stream. They want us to do live,
and
yet,
they want us to stay on. And they want to keep people there, right?
Yeah,
that's what they want. And you know something?
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I have seen it right now. I could tell. Look, Christine Baker, Mia Mina, Creepy Clown Girl, Philia Noctis, Evil Outcast, Demented Maniac,
Bathsheba.
Oh my God, Bathsheba, Slumber Reads, people who I know behind the scenes don't even talk. That they just, I'm sorry, they don't chat. They just lurk. And I know that they stay from beginning to end. And I catch myself adding them, because in the chat when you say add anybody's and you start with the first letters, immediately a suggestion pops up to let you know who has those first 2 letters in the chat. And I have been there and typed random things and seen randomly people popping up in the suggestions, and they have told me I always lurk, I never say anything, but we stay from beginning to end. So either all of these people are lying to us, or the algorithm needs a little tweaking. And I know, Christine, I know you're not lying, that's for sure. You guys are always there for us, like so many people, and it's just strange. Yes, you guys are troopers, so thank you, man. These guys are not any joke. All of the Z Horde, man, they always stick with us, always. And they're loyal and the best friends any creator could ask for, honestly. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I know I can speak for Kenny as well when I say that.
Yes.
I love you.
Yes, Mysterio.
I think the whole horror community in general, there's a lot of great people.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. It's a really great community. I've had a lot of support. Even though I'm doing something kind of different and that, at first gaze doesn't really fit in that well with the horror community. But people have been really accepting, and it's been great.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, we're little, and I always like to say that we're a little, but we strike like the 300. Because that's how these guys are. All right.
Yeah, and I think with YouTube, you just have to wait. It takes time. Suddenly, you can have a video that suddenly takes off, and then you're like, wow.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I do hear that. No, I'm sorry. Kenny was telling me something off mic and just caught the end of that. But yeah, no, I totally agree with what you say.
Yeah. And I've only done one collaboration on my channel with Darkness Prevails.
Ooh.
We did a collaboration. He's a really nice guy. And that was that video was the one that I got the most criticism of all my videos on that one.
Oh, really?
And maybe it was because I was being exposed to a really big audience that they weren't used to me. And they like Darkness Prevails, and they like the way he narrates, and they weren't into the way I narrate. I don't know. But I got so much criticism after that one, and I felt bad about it. But I was also quite nervous when I recorded it, so I
make sure everything's good.
Sorry?
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry, Christine.
What happened to Christine?
We kept Christine hanging. Thank you for calling in, Christine.
What happened to Christine?
We just kept talking.
Thank you for calling me out, and I always look forward to your stories, Miss Scary Fairy Godmother.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We love you, Christine. You're like so awesome, and I'm sorry that we forgot to include you in the conversation.
The banners.
But thank you for calling, Christine. Really, you're amazing. You really are. And all of your suggestions always pan out very well. So thank you.
And don't forget to comment when you see me on my videos, especially the first day. And I'll comment.
The open. Oh, that's right.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Now I don't remember what I was saying.
Yeah, it happens to me a lot. I'm so sorry. But yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm a bit tired.
I'm so sorry about that.
What were we talking about?
I have no clue, but I know that we're saying Christine is fabulous. She's awesome. You know, and that is definitely
I was
the
talking
truth.
about my collaboration with Darkness Prevails.
Yes.
And yeah, how like I don't know, a lot of people on that channel, they just didn't like my voice. So what can you do, you know? I think they like his voice and they didn't like mine. So, and I was also super nervous when I recorded that one, so I don't know how well I actually did. But because I had about 5,000 subscribers at the time, and Darkness Prevails at the time was like 100,000 and something. So I was super nervous, and I'm already not as comfortable with narrating. So, but that was the first time that I really got a lot of criticism, and yeah. And I think it just happens, though, like the bigger you get, the more criticism you get, weirdly, that I guess you attract more negative people. But when you're a small channel, it
that we live in a world.
Nice
we live in a world that is narcissistic, right? So people, if it's not their success, they don't want to see other people succeeding. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. And I'm not saying it's all people, right? But the narcissistic ones of us, and we all know who we are. Well, not me. I'm not going to say I'm narcissistic, but you know what I mean. Up to a point, all of us are, right? And there is points in our life when at least once we have felt jealous or entitled or felt like the world owes us just because of our mere presence. And you need to understand, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So when we see other people getting the recognition that we feel we deserve, well, that just can't be, right? So that's what it is. That's what that problem is right there, you know. And you're living your best life, so people are mad because they're not, and they're angry that they're not.
I think, that's so true. And I think as well, people on YouTube and just on the internet in general forget sometimes that they're talking to human beings. You know, like there's something very dehumanizing about the screen, and you feel too comfortable because you're sitting at home and you're alone and you can just type whatever you want. And I mean, I read all of the comments on my channel. I don't always respond to all of the comments, just because I am such a busy creative person doing things, and if I was responding all the time to everything, I don't think I'd ever get anything done. But I appreciate all of the positive comments, and I try to respond to as many as I can and as many emails as I can. But you know, sometimes in the comments, people, they talk about you like they don't think that you're going to read it, you know. Like they're just talking to their friend in their living room about something, you know, like if you're watching Netflix or something like that, and there's a stupid thing that happens, a scene that you think was terrible, you might say, or an actor that's doing a bad job, you might lean over to your friend and say, oh yeah, this guy sucks, you know, and then your friend is like, yeah, this really sucks. But you would never say that if that actor was sitting there in the room with you. You know, like you would try to be nice even if you thought that they sucked. I think people on the internet forget.
I have a serious problem with that. No, I was gonna say, and I don't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but I have a serious problem with keeping my opinion to myself. So that yeah, I do. And it drives Kenny crazy. So basically this platform and this channel has been kind of like therapeutical to me, okay? And educational, almost like behavior modification for me, because in real life, I have no filter. And the Z Horde that knows us from the Discord and our beautiful supporters that sometimes go to our after parties, because sometimes on some occasions we will go to what we call the after party on Discord and just start chatting and talking and hearing each other, including, that's why I like Discord so much, including our Z Horde, our supporters and friends. And they'll tell you, no, Miss Stereo has no filter. She is Miss Stereo. I am me, and I don't have a filter. Yeah. But this here has helped me to understand that sometimes it is required, but what can I do, But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, sometimes... well, I don't think that, I think it's important to be honest, and honesty is a excellent quality to have in someone, and but it just depends on the situation. Like sometimes honesty can be cruel, right. And sometimes you're being honest, but it's just an opinion. It's just an arbitrary opinion, like you might think a particular performance or a particular video is terrible, but other people don't think that. So you're saying your opinion, but it's not necessarily the truth. It's just a particular taste. So you don't necessarily, I feel like you don't necessarily have to share that all the time. And especially if you know that people are going to read it. But I mean, it's okay. I feel like I've developed a bit of a thicker skin about it. There's people are going to share their opinions, even negative opinions, positive opinions, no matter what. And
yes, that's true.
The thing that always makes me feel better about it is there was at one point, I don't know if they still do it, but I think it was NASA. They had a live stream from the International Space Station of the Earth from space, and they were live streaming it on YouTube, and it had like 500 dislikes, like thumbs down, and I was like, people are thumbing down a live stream of the Earth from space. So I can't feel that upset when I get thumbed down, because there are people that are just gonna hate anything.
Well, some of them believe that it's fake, so that we're not being shown the truth, because some of us feel that there is other things out there and that we're not alone and that it's being covered up. But maybe that's what behind that. But hey, we could put our shiny hats away now, because I totally understand what you're saying about
you mean like like flat earthers or something?
Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah, maybe they're the ones coming down Earth from space. I was like, who comes down the Earth from space?
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
It's just a weird thing to go to a live stream of the Earth from space and be like, not good enough. Downvote. Just weird.
I mean, but look, I'm all for alternative education of, individuals that are of sound body and mind, or at least present to be, and people who are grown adults, hey, you make your choice to believe whatever you want to believe. I don't care about that. I'm respectful. I mean, but the rest of us don't have to, and it really is no reason for hate.
And also,
so much hate.
Yeah, and also anything, everybody can think of the one thing that they're the most passionate about and that they love. Maybe it's a book series or a TV show or something like that they're just obsessed with, and they love it, and they think it's brilliant and the best thing ever. And that whatever that is, it has tons of haters. Tons of people hate it and think it's terrible. So, a lot of it has to do with people have individual taste, and you can't please everybody. So, and I mean, the only reason I bring this up is because of, you know, the conversation we were having, that, you know, about putting your stuff out there, that people shouldn't let that deter them or get in their way of sharing their work, whether it's starting a YouTube channel or whatever it is. Just realize that it's the case for everything, that some people are going to like it and some people aren't, and you should just share your stuff.
That's right. You got to do what you do to make you happy, because if you're not making you happy, you're not going to make anybody else happy, honestly. You're just going to be one of those channels, and this goes beyond YouTube, but in this scenario, you're just going to be one of those channels that you follow an algorithm, and that algorithm is dictating what you say, what you see, what you show, what you talk about, and you're going to lose your soul, your humanity. You know, you're going to get stuck in the matrix. But if you be real to yourself, you know, that's where people can tell the difference too. You could tell the difference between numbers that are inflated, that are sterile. They're sterile, like a hospital, you know, and they've been carefully selected, and you're following a certain set of rules, you know. Well, you'll do well in a platform like this, you know, but when you do your own thing,
some people even,
it makes it a little harder, you know. It really is a little harder, used to, but possible.
And some people even used to like buy views and buy followers or subscribers. I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, we ain't got.
I've never done that.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
No. YouTube at one point did this thing where they just tried to purge all of the fake bots and that kind of thing that were following people, and a lot of channels lost so many subscribers from that.
Oh yeah, we don't got time for none of that. That's just ridiculous and stupid. And the only ones we'd be fooling would be ourselves, because it doesn't work. It really does not work. It's a lie. It does not work. Eventually you get caught, and it's always like that, sooner or later. But you know what?
No, you can usually tell that. You can usually tell the channels that used to do that. I don't know if people still do that, but you could usually tell, because they would have, you know, like 10 or 20,000 subscribers, but then their videos would get like, you know, 2 views. And if you have that many subscribers, your videos are going to have more views than that.
Absolutely. You can tell. You're not fooling anybody. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous sometimes. It really is. You know, and not just that. The ones that are allegedly official and follow all the rules and do everything that is, you know, the official way to do it. You know, when it's official, it's not innovative. It's not creative. It's not none of that. And if you are a creative...
in the sense of
content creation.
You mean in the sense of like, oh yeah. I mean, they kind of follow like a formula. You mean?
Yes, they follow a formula, which is proven, and it does help with growth and AdSense and all of that. But it doesn't help, honestly, in the sense of long-term, long stay. You know, like forever type of channels that you just like, that person has stayed real from beginning to end. They've never changed. They've grown, but they've never changed. It's something that happens organically. There's a difference there's a difference between a channel that's an organically grown channel or a channel that is formulated to grow, you know? Not fake, just formulated. It's just a formula, like you said. You know, so we're trying to do it organically. We're trying to let the real people that really enjoy the content, that really enjoy this genre and subgenres. Those are the type of people. Sorry about that. I just brought my mic closer to me because I realized it was too far away. No, Kenny realized it was too far away and he put it closer to my mouth. I'm so sorry about that. So, the type of people that we want with us in this community are exactly the type of people we're attracting. People who love the subject and subjects, you know, people who are paranormal groups, UFO believers, horror narrators, people who like doing movie reviews for horror stuff and everything fantasy and, you know, everything in those categories. We're all supposed to be together. There's no reason at all why, you know, we are not more integrated, but yet we were. And that is, again, I will reiterate why our live stream evolved and why it is Stereo Dread. You know, there is a reason for that, for this, doing what it's doing. It's a life of its own.
Yeah, I like what you guys are doing, and I think you need to kind of stick with it, and you know, it's a cool thing, and I mean, how long have you guys been doing this?
A year today. Halloween. No, about a year. Yeah, about a year. We started before Halloween, but we actually posted our first actual real video about a couple of weeks of Halloween, before Halloween. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea, and I think you're completely right about just sort of, you know, sticking to what you believe in and what you're passionate about and putting your energy into it, and the people who are going to find it are going to find it, and like, I think that's the most gratifying thing in the end. That, you know,
I do have a question
with my
for
channel,
you
it's
about fairies.
Sure.
Do you think that fairies can operate at a global capacity? For, in the sense, I'll give you this, for example, things like entertainment, in the content creation sense. Can they affect who makes it and who doesn't? Do you think that there are fairies involved in different aspects of success globally?
Like, do I think that the fairies are kind of inspiring people?
Or organizing? In other words, can they organize globally to affect change globally? Do you think that?
I mean, from everything that I know about fairy lore, I think that they would not be interested in that.
Okay,
I think they're
gotcha.
more internally gazing. They would be more interested in their own affairs.
Well, do you think that they
would
can
care
affect
one
success? Do you think they can affect success more, is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, in fairy lore, if they're upset with you, then they can really mess with your life and screw it up. You can go from very successful to being a total failure just because you've pissed off the fairies.
I wonder what could piss off a fairy.
Yeah, or vice versa. Like, they can also help you become successful, although it might be a more illusory kind of success, or there might be some kind of terrible price to pay for it, according to the stories. But
oh hell
yeah,
no.
But I mean, in terms of them being interested on a global level in humanity, all the stories that I've read, they're not that interested in us. They're doing their own thing, and usually you know, someone falls foul of the fairies because they interrupt or interfere with something that they're doing. You know, they're getting in their way while they're involved in their own affairs. But if you know, they're kind of like, if you don't bother us, we won't bother you, kind of.
Well, if I tell you, if the fairy folk did do it, it might be something out of like Hellboy. The first Hellboy, when those fairy folk were, and then, you know, there was going up against mankind and stuff, and yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, just because the fairies, all the lore surrounding them is so rich and so interesting, I think that there's so much inspiration there for fiction, and for stories, for novels, for films. And I mean, that's how I was first interested in them, as inspiration for fiction. And I still I'm always looking for that interesting angle on them, and something to write different stories about, you know. Whether it's a novel, I have a novel where I sort of created my own fairy world, highly influenced by all the lore that I read. And I'm also going to be working on a film just for myself that hopefully I'll try to sell at some point, but that is inspired by fairy lore, a fairy horror film. But I really find them fascinating, and it's just such a wonderful topic for fiction and for art as well. It's such wonderful fairy artwork, and I mean, that really is my primary reason for my channel, is inspiration, either giving it to myself or to other people.
That is so beautiful.
There's just so much. Yeah.
I remember.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, there's just so much of this topic that it's just
and it's perfect
ending,
for the occasion, Halloween, baby.
But the thing is, a few years back, we were so upset that, you know, there's not more out there as far as groups and, you know, fairies were concerned. So we were going to start a nonprofit organization. And, you know, we even like had a video ready and everything, and it was going to be amazing. But
a nonprofit for
not like to, you know, for public awareness, to raise awareness
of people.
Because look, people aren't really being made aware. You know, people just think, oh, fairies are just things that you see in Disney movies and, you know, things of that nature, and fairy books. They can't be real.
I mean, I think that anything is possible.
You know, people are just being misled.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to keep an open mind about these kind of things. Like I said, I haven't had really many paranormal experiences myself, though I do keep an open mind, and I do have a really intense imagination. But I am a fiction writer, and it's who I am. It's how I think. I think in terms of fiction. So these stories, I definitely keep an open mind about it, but that's how I approach them. I approach them when they're sent to me. My first,
I mean, so many. Let me tell you something. So many.
Is this a good story?
Yeah, and not just that. So many countries, so many backgrounds, so many people, and generations going back. Many generations, everywhere there is some sort of fairy-like lore, so there's got to be something to it. You know, you can't just say, "Oh, it's not real." No, there's got to be something there. I'm not saying necessarily Tinkerbell's going around messing around.
I'm wondering, has there ever have? Do you know? Do you know if you know? If Cecily, can I ask you, do you know if there's any mention of like fairies in any of the spiritual books? You know, like the Torah, you know, the Bible. Any mention in any sort of any sort of religious text for fairies? Any mention?
A mention of fairies?
Yeah.
Or fairy-like creatures.
Or fairy-like creatures. Yes.
I don't think so. Not in the Bible that I recall from what I know about the Bible, which is some, but not all.
Okay.
I grew up Catholic, so I should know, but
Right.
Well, I know for sure not in the Bible. That I know. My parents are pastors, after all.
The reason I ask is because look, there's spirits, ghosts. You know, there's I think
Jinns.
even like
Jinns in the Islam culture.
I think there's
jinns.
like dinosaurs mentioned.
Yes, there's dinosaurs in the Bible.
I mean,
yes.
so
Well,
aliens or something I heard was mentioned.
I think some of the earliest,
So
and I think some of the earliest mention of these kind of beings was from India. There's a kind of creatures, they're called like the Nas or something like that. But I really don't know that much about them, so I don't want to go into them. But there are very ancient stories. And I know that the Celtic pagans, they had these beliefs, you know, a long, like thousands of years we're talking about. So this is a very old belief.
Wow.
And these cultures were historically spread apart. They weren't communicating with each other, and they came up with very similar ideas about fairies. They might have called them different things, but you do have these similar ideas across different cultures. So that is an interesting thing that they have come up so many times in different cultures. It's even isolated cultures, will have these fairy beliefs. Like from even the Native Americans, they have fairy beliefs, and they predate the Europeans who brought their own fairy beliefs. So and you can't get more isolated than that from the rest of the world. So it's really kind of an interesting thing. But again, like I keep an open mind, and all the stories that people send me, I definitely keep an open mind. And but as I said, my primary goal is to share them, to share good stories, to entertain people, and to put together entertaining, fun videos for people to listen to and inspire people, hopefully. And that's my goal. But I mean, a lot of people, they do have these strong beliefs in the fairies, and I really don't like to speculate. I stick to the lore, what I've read and what I know from the lore, and everything else is about imagination, which is something that the fairies inspire. So it's great. And again, fiction. I love fiction, and any kind of stories or artwork that the fairies inspire, all the better. I love this kind of stuff.
that's the best thing to do.
Hello. So sorry about that. I was just checking real quick because the audio is acting wonky, so we just mute our microphones whenever we're not gonna be speaking, so that the audience has the best possible audio quality, so to speak. But
that's no problem. But
go.
I was just gonna say, I sort of, I'm a little bit of an introverted type, and I usually can't really maintain my energy that long for long streams like this. As you can see, I'm starting to not be able to think.
No, you're doing great.
I may have to kind of wrap up soon. So if anybody has any questions or anything like that, I don't know how much I can last.
Okay. I tell you what, I just want one question before you leave.
Yes.
What's your favorite Halloween candy? Let's keep it simple. What's your favorite Halloween candy? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I like, oh my god, chocolate.
I really like chocolate.
Chocolate.
So it's got to be something with chocolate in it.
Chocolate.
Maybe the
Ooh,
Yeah.
she said chocolate.
I'm a big chocolate person, so it's gotta be. I don't know. What's the best? What are the little chocolate bars that come in Halloween?
Oh, like so delicious.
Snickers or
all of them.
Kit Kats.
Oh, Reese's.
Hershey's.
Yeah.
Three Musketeers.
Hershey's, Snickers.
Yes, all of those. All of
my
those.
God.
If it's got chocolate, that's what
York peppermint patty.
I went trick or treating when I was. When I was a kid with my brother, we'd trade, and I would always want the chocolate stuff.
So
it's like you can take the chips and the candies, give me the chocolate.
chocolate. Listen.
There were these little chocolate beads that came
God.
in tubes.
Oh, the sixlets.
Yeah.
Those were good too.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something really, really quickly. There's two things that we must do before you leave. Number one,
Sure.
Before today, had you ever been on any of our live stream? And it's okay to say no, that's fine. You know, by yourself, like lurked.
You cut out there for a second.
Okay,
You said,
I'm sorry.
"Have I ever been on?"
Oh, at any of our live
you
streams
ask again?
before?
Or is this the first time?
Oh, have I watched your live streams before?
Ever, just one.
Well,
Yeah, or is this the first time?
I mean, honestly, I didn't know you guys until you
That's
emailed
okay.
me.
That is
but
okay.
after you did, I looked you up and I did listen to part of your live stream with something with somnolence.
Okay. Dark Somnium.
I can't remember his name.
Dark Somnium.
Dream.
Yes.
Dark somnolence. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
So I listened to some of that.
Okay.
And I thought it was great. I think you guys are great.
Oh, thank you. No, yeah, that's why I wanted to check, because we have some rituals here and things that we do often with some of our guests and
like
and
Panic
our
D.
supporters.
They're in the house.
Yes, that's right. Panic D Paranormal, baby.
They're in his house.
Yes, we do shout outs here. We do, what you call the roll call. And Philia Noctis jumped in here.
Philia Noctis. She's in his house.
We have Midnighter Tales. He popped in here after the interview
I know,
began.
I've seen him. Rasta Jesus. He's into his house.
Let's see there. I gotta scroll up just to see
right.
who else.
That's right, because she has to go. Let's make this about her.
That's true.
So, something? You were magnificent this evening, Scary Fairy Godmother. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and joining us tonight.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you so much for asking.
No, we loved it.
I'm very happy to come on.
We like it when guests talk a lot. We like it because that we get more.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, of course. We get more for our ear, and it's music.
And it's good to get to know one another. That's how friendships are formed and networks begin, because, you just can't go networking or being buddy-buddy with anybody until you really know them.
Absolutely.
And even then, you got to be sure. And even then, you need to be sure
Oh,
again.
good. Yeah.
You need to be, you need to always, watch your six, as we like to say.
Yes.
And cover your rear.
Well, for
be
sure.
careful, because there's a lot of weirdos and freaks out there that like to, just play games on the internet with folks, and
you have to be careful.
So
That's why
be
community
careful,
is good.
That's why community always over society.
Yes.
And that's why we try to, build bonds.
Definitely.
Yeah, because we know.
That's right.
We know when you're alone, that's when the predators come out and they grab you up. But if you're not alone and you know that you got your horde family or whatever community you're part of on YouTube, you got them watching your back.
Hell yeah. Z-Horde don't play.
Well, I'm happy to join. What do you call it?
The Z-Horde, baby. The Z-Horde.
Oh, the Z-Horde. Okay.
Yes, the Z-Horde.
Z-Horde.
Yes.
Short for Zombie Horde. That's us, baby. And speaking of which,
Zombie Horde. Oh,
yes, Speaking of which, Kenny wrote a song for the Z Horde. It's called the Z Horde Anthem. Would you like to hear it?
We heard it right before I brought her in.
Oh,
that's what that was.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool. Yes. That was great. Yeah. Oh, you wrote that? Oh,
might have to play the Wicked the Scorn though.
That's great.
Yeah, Kenny wrote that. He performed it as well. There's another one that is basically is a rap song about hell. Yep. And it's based on the accounts of people who claim to have been there. So we should probably play that right now for those who haven't heard it before.
Yep, Mary P though. She's in the house, baby.
Oh, Mary P.
She's in his house. She's in his house.
Wasn't there a guitarist as well, or a famous musician that you know, he told the story that he had sold his soul to the devil for his skill.
Oh yeah, lots of them. Oh yes, lots of them have said that. I can't remember who it is now. Lots of them have said that. Yeah, quite a few people. All right, so we're gonna put that song on for Mary P to listen to.
But thank you though. But thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Have a great evening, a great weekend.
Before I sign out, let me just read a 4-sentence little poem about the fairies and Halloween.
Oh,
it's a traditional rhyme that was said. Yeah. So here we go.
Okay.
Hi ho for Halloween when the fairies are seen, some black and some green. Hi ho for Halloween.
Oh my God, that is so cute.
It's a traditional rhyme. Yeah, from the British Isles. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. Please put that in the chat.
I thought I'd share it.
Yes, please put that in the chat, even if it's in sections. Please. That is awesome. Thank you.
You want me to type that in? Okay.
Yes. Thank you, and you're always welcome here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty,
Robert Johnson. Hi. Somebody just said Panic Paranormal History said Robert Johnson went down to the crossroads. Yeah, I think right. that was
Yeah, thank you so much. God. Sean and Marianne, they're both great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Yeah, baby.
Oh, Scary Fairy Godmother, thank you. Any final words for our audience?
Thank you guys so much for sticking around and listening. I had a lot of fun. These guys are great. Make sure you keep supporting them. I think they're awesome. And check out my channel, especially if you like fairies. You're going to find a lot of fairies on my channel. So it's the place to be. Awesome. And it's a great community that everybody has here, and I just hope we all keep supporting each other, and hopefully we can all collaborate more in the future. And
we're starting. We're starting tonight. All right, we started already. We started collaborating already, honey.
Oh yeah.
Just by you being here with this interview.
That's right.
Yeah, right. Well, and then look, I'm gonna ask permission to show your banner on the screen. So when we play our 24-hour stream or whenever, boom, your banner comes up. Somebody might say, hey, that's cool. Let me go check them out. See, so we're already working together. And you don't even know it.
Yeah. Yeah, baby. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Let's keep
it going.
You guys are
great. That's right.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep working. Of course. Keep working. Keep growing.
Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. I'm posting in the chat this little poem right now.
Thank you so much. That's amazing.
Just give me a second.
That's okay. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Yes, and a wonderful weekend.
Yes. Wow, everybody, that was great.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Whoa. Happy Halloween. Whoa.
Awesome. Everybody, that was Scary Fairy Godmother. She's awesome.
You have a spooky one.
Yeah, check her out here on YouTube. We're going to put her link in the chat in a few seconds. Or if one of the mods could please grab up her link and put it in the chat, it'll be a great big favor.
Yeah, it's in the description, so just got to copy paste it.
Yes.
It's in there.
Yeah. But neither one of our computers right now is there at the moment. So we're trying to keep down bandwidth usage. Woof. Hey, Fairy. Oh, yes, she's putting it on the screen.
There you go. Me and Mina.
We're going to.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to copy paste these later on. We're going to come on, and at the end of the stream, we're going to copy paste this into the computer and put it out on Twitter or something. Awesome. That'll be great.
Yep. Thank you so much for being here, Cecily. You were fantastic.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'll post the link for all my subscribers who might have missed this stream.
Yeah, you know what? Tag us with that poem on Twitter. We'll retweet it.
Yes.
That'll be great.
For sure. I will.
Okay, darling. Bye-bye.
All right.
Toodles.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Toodles. Good night.
Oh, I love her avatar, and I just love the way she is. She's so easy to listen to and talk to. I can listen to her all day.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, you guys, if you haven't gotten your fill of fairy from this live stream, go to Scary Fairy Godmother's channel and, check out her content. She has everything you need to know about fairies and fairy folk. It is phenomenal. I love that. I love listening to that.
It's actually the Fae.
The Fae, yes.
But it's okay. Fairy folk is good too.
But in Lost Girl, the TV show, the special folk with superpowers were called the Fae. So that's interesting that even those things they somehow originate from real life lores and actual legends and stuff. So that's going to be amazing and great. I love that. Let me see here. Okay. Looks like we're going to play The Wicked and the Scorn, right, guys?
Yes. Let's do it, baby.
Awesome. The Wicked, the Scorn, guys. Check it out.
God are my hands clean, is my heart pure.
House for the wicked, the scorn, not the unborn. Righteous sofa like this. I'm on a chef for horns, that was barbecue. You can't fight this, you've been warned. House for the wicked, scorn, not the unborn. Righteous sofa like this. I'm on a chef for horns, that was barbecue. You can't fight this, you've been warned. Heard of a place, spirits can't rest. Hard to breathe, brimstone in the chest. Spots damn hot, bodies rot. Regenerate non-stop on the clock. Lost chains on your ankles and your wrists. The water for your lips, dark figures in the mist. Demons so tall and small than midgets. Dig it, knives, skillets, grill it. Nightmares, no dreaming, felons, heathens, yelling, screaming, blood and bleeding. Those demon troubles get beat and scuffles can't talk about, so I even struggle. Satanic lottery, demonic property, great God's pottery, ride debauchery is all gotta be, but heaven's mockery.
Is there mercy for me? Is there mercy for me? Is there mercy for me?
House for the wicked, the scorn, not the unborn. Righteous sofa like this. I'm on a chef for horns, that was barbecue. You can't fight this, you've been warned. House for the wicked, the scorn, not the unborn. Righteous sofa like this. I'm on a chef for horns, that was barbecue. You can't fight this, you've been warned.
Everybody, we are back. Mic check 1 2. We are back, everybody, and welcome.
Yep.
We're back to Stereo Dread. I'm here with Miss Stereo, and that was the Scary Fairy Godmother.
Yes, indeed it was, and she got your old time fix for all things fairy, baby.
For sure.
Oh my goodness, my. We love spending time with you guys. We love being around you. Thank you once again for all of those who were very kind and giving me a lot of get well and good vibe wishes over social media and private messages all over the internet. Thank you. I got them all. I love you, and I really appreciate it, and so does Ken. We all appreciate that and your love. It's really good, but we gotta go rest now. What do you guys say? Would you like?
Hey, so what's that 24-hour stream about?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. I want to know.
What was all those banners we just saw on the screen with the eyeballs? What's that about?
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to let you guys know that we are, in fact, putting everybody's banner up on our 24-hour promos stream. So that's exactly what that is.
And if you want to be part of it, how can they?
Well, all they have to do is go to Discord, honestly, and
or
go to our Discord section where it says self promo. Now, in the self promo section, you can post your videos, your video trailers, for your YouTube, or any promotions that you have that are video, a poster, a flyer.
Oh, I see.
And your channel art. Channel banner. And what we'll do is we'll use it for the website and or the live stream. That's what we're gonna do.
For real?
But you have to caption it. Dezombified is free to use this.
What?
For their
How about just Dezombified
No, it's better if they just type in, for legal reasons, Dezombified is free to use this on their channel or website.
Sounds good.
So you guys do that. And if you know of any other horror tuber or narrator or something like that that could use the promotion, let us know, direct them our way, but not if you're a creep. If you're a creep, stay away. So so right now, after this ends, we're gonna put back our 24-hour stream, and you could enjoy it, chill out, play some games, have some fun, and learn about some new narrators that you probably never heard of. Put them out there, guys. We're just gonna tweak the computer a little, run a few disk cleanups, and then that's that. Love you guys, and until the next time we see you guys, watch your six.